What's going on, guys? Besides here with another absolute cinema AD guide, trading, positioning, matchups, macro, wave management, team fights, and how to convert your lead into the later stages. Everything you will learn in one single video. This video will have everything that you need to be minimum a master tier on AD carry and every information you need below grandmaster. This is not just a guide you watch once and forget. No, this is a must watch, must rewatch, must study guide for anyone who wants to hit master tier and beyond. I've been coaching AD carries for over 6 years, hit challenger back in 2019 and worked with players from iron to challenger, so trust me, I know what actually works. If you're serious about improving, like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any bit of content from the best AD carry channel on YouTube. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Here AD carry feels like a weak role, right? You rely on a support. You can't 1v1 the mid laner, and some games just feel unwinnable, no matter how well you play, right? But here is the truth. If you're better than the enemy AD carry, your team effectively has one less monkey dragging them down. And yes, some games are doomed, some games are unwinnable, but in most winnable games, you have way more impact than you think if you play correctly. So is AD carry actually a strong role? Is it better than other roles? Let's break it all down. When people ask, is AD carry a good role? The answer isn't simple. Let's break it down using both some data and my experience coaching over 3,000 players. The 10th highest win rate AD carry is Vayne at 51.22%. In contrast, the 10th highest win rate jungle is Nocturne at 50.77. On the surface, AD carry in the top 10 seem to perform pretty well, but here is something interesting. Half of the top 10 AD carries aren't even traditional AD carries. Yasuo, Lux, Swain, Seraphim, Quay. If we compare the numbers of challenger players, AD carries versus challenger junglers across all major servers, AOS, NA, Korea, this is what I found out. 15 AOS AD carries and 25 junglers on AOS, 28 junglers and 9 AD carries on NA, and 14 AD carries and 27 junglers in Korea. This showcases that AD carry is weaker, and I know what you're saying. Besides, but if in challenger where they have jungle and support, the role is weak. Even my elo, in low elo, the role is even weaker, isn't it? First, let's all agree on one thing. AD carry is an important role, and if played correctly, it can carry games. Think about those games when you're behind, you're 0-4, you're playing mid game, the enemy took Baron Nashor, but the enemy Jinx deletes everyone. We've seen all these games when AD carry diff completely takes over a match. So yes, AD carry can be strong, but let's be real right now. Is AD carry the best role to climb? No. Is AD carry harder than other roles? Yes. Is jungle better for climbing? Definitely. Is mid lane stronger? Probably. Jungle, for example, is hands down the best role for climbing, but for me, it is so boring. So what's the alternative? Do I switch to an easier, stronger role and hate every game? Or do I master a weaker role that I actually enjoy, even if it makes climbing harder? Yes, sometimes playing AD carry feels like suffering, but I would rather struggle and have fun than playing a boring role just for LP. I love AD carry, the mechanics, the micro, the champs, the combos, the complexity of CSing, the team fighting. It makes the game fun for me, and I know you feel the same. So is AD carry a good role? AD carry is not the best role, but it is a role that still can carry. You just can't be average on it and expect to win. And that's exactly what we will cover in this guide, how to become a godlike AD carry who carries even when the role is difficult, because harder doesn't mean impossible. Now we're going to talk about the settings and everything that an AD carry should have in terms of settings, tips and tricks on the keybinds and other stuff. So before we actually go into the hotkeys and everything, I want to talk about the A-click and attack move cursor, which is one of the most important things for kiting on AD carry. So it's pretty simple. When you click, you don't want to actually right click, because if you do it, when you're going to miss a click, if you actually trying to kite, so let's say this is a fizz and you're trying to kite and let's say you miss the click, you are pretty much going to walk into the target, which means usually you're going to die. Even one misstep and then trying to adjust right away is just going to mean you're going to die. Let's say kite and I move the click and I immediately try to adjust, you're probably going to die or just lose your flash. So what do you do for that? You either do the normal pro player, ruler, deft, Uzi, Kumayushi way, which is basically you press A click and you go to the target and you press so you press A click, you go to the target and you actually go for the left click. And even if you're gonna miss, this is what's gonna happen. you're going to attack the closest target based on your cursor. And little tip for that, you need to have this setting, attack move on cursor, because what this is going to do, attack move will prioritize the target closest to your mouse click. So for example, if I'm trying to kite and let's say I'm kiting this guy and I actually miss the click, it's still going to go on the closest target, in which without this setting, obviously you're going to go for the closest target relative to your champion. So bottom line is that you should use this setting for sure. And this is attack move cursor, but what is better, I believe, is the attack move click, which is basically pressing a button, A or X, you can bind it to anything basically. And instead of pressing A and pressing left click, you just press basically that. Let's say now I press A, so I go to settings, hotkeys, I go to player movement, and right here I can see, let's say I can bind it for A, right? And now every time when I'm gonna actually press A, I'm gonna click to the, I'm gonna basically hit the closest target based on my cursor. So this is super good. This is coming really nice when it comes to kiting, when you want to space on someone. This is one of the best settings. If I could start it over, I will learn it right away. I don't play with it just because I played so many years with the normal attack move cursor. And I think that if you're already having the muscle memory for that, you should use that. But this one is better if you didn't, like, let's say you're new to the game, or you just right click and you don't have any settings on your gameplay and any attack moving strategy, then you should obviously just use this one and try to learn this one. How do you learn it? I mean, there are a few ways, but I mean, honestly, just go in the game and try to practice it, CS with it, use it every time, and then for, I think, for the next 10 games, like 5 to 10 games, use it every single time when you do something. And then after that, what you're going to do is that yeah, so 10 games should be enough, but in those 10 games you have to literally farm with it. So you're CSing with it, you're hitting them, trading with it, you are playing the team fights with it, everything with it. And then after those 10 games, you can just play normally. And sometimes you're gonna actually find yourself when you CS without it. And in the team fights, in very like clutch situation, when you need your spacing to be like really good, then you're going to most likely need this thing, right? So bottom line is, try to learn it. If you don't know it already, try to learn it, this attack move click thing. And definitely it's really nice for any player that wants to learn AD carry. This is the first thing that I would actually recommend for, so this is a click. If you want to play with the other one, attack move cursor, that's absolutely fine with the A click. Make sure you have the range. So what this is going to do, well, it's pretty simple. So let me put it back. It's just going to show you the range, which is pretty good. Even like pro players use this, even though it looks a bit like, oh, you're bronze, bro, you play with it. Actually pretty decent, because yeah, a lot of people play with it. You can see the range. It just feels a little bit smoother and better. I mean, you can play without it, but I recommend it with it. It's just easier. The next one is only champions click. So this one, right? And it's actually binded on hotkeys. You go to abilities and summon spells, you scroll down, and you're gonna have here target champions only. I use it as default, but honestly you can put it on X, you can put it on T. It's actually quite good on T. You can put it even on G, anything that is close to your fingers. I keep it on default because that's how I got used to it. So yeah, again, what this setting is going to do when you're trying to dive, let's say I want to go on that guy and I want to hit him. As you can see, it's pretty difficult for me to like hit the guy. I'm just probably going to hit the tower. And then if I'm super precise, I can just, you know, do this, but I can always miss the click. And if you're doing the auto attack, like this is also decent because again, it's going to actually hit the closest target from the tower. But if you're pressing that button and you're going on the target, you cannot actually physically click on the champions or sorry, on the minions or tower. Unfortunately, you can't press this button and press A click. You're still going to, you know, have to be precise. You have to still, you know, aim. But it's still a very good setting. Do I recommend it to be toggled here? I mean, honestly, I don't have it as a toggle. I think it can be fine, you know, as long as you're like not forgetting to like deactivate it. But I personally don't use it without. I like to hold it and then go on the target. And when I feel like I don't need to like keep it anymore, I just like don't hold it anymore. It just feels better like this. But honestly, I think the toggle is also pretty good. Are you an AD carry main who feels like no matter how well you play, win the lane, make good decisions, play mechanically well most of the times, but you still have no real impact. You crush it one day, win 5 games in a row and feel unstoppable, but the next day you lose every single game and start doubting yourself. Am I even a good AD carry? What can I do if enemy top lane and mid lane are so fed? Imagine a world where you never let a lead slip away. You know exactly how to push your advantage, exactly when to rotate at the right time, and how to control objectives so you can snowball the game. A world where as AD carry you don't feel forced to make risky plays and you don't drop your lead. But you don't have to imagine it, you can make it a reality. This is Martin. He was grinding games, watching guides and trying his best, but none of it seemed to work. The problem? He was focusing on the wrong things. You don't improve just by playing more games, you improve by fixing the small mistakes that cost you wins. And that's a problem that most AD carry face. From Platinum 3 to Diamond in 2 months. Billy found himself making the same mistakes over and over again, engaging at the wrong time or mispositioning in teamfights, dying for no reason, and he even knew some of the mistakes but he didn't know how to fix it. He would find himself guessing what to do next, unsure whether to push, rotate or fight while feeling completely lost in the mid game. Now, he knows exactly what to do at every stage of the game and his results speak for themselves. Silver to Emerald in a month. Shaquille went from Diamond 4 to Challenger. Alex went from Gold to Grandmaster, and they are not alone. They are part of a growing community of over 3,254 players who have taken coaching and transformed their gameplay. But here is the truth. This was not overnight and it was not effortless. Shaquille spent 2 years grinding to reach Challenger, not by playing more, but by playing smarter. Alex dedicated 26 months refining his skills and climbing to Grandmaster once he started focusing on what actually matters. So no, this is not a one session and you'll climb instantly, promise. If you're looking for that, if you're looking for a shortcut, this isn't it. But if you're willing to put in the time, willing to put in the effort, apply the right mindset and focus on the details that actually matter, this is the proof that coaching actually works. You're closer to being a great AD carry than you think. Most players just need to uncover what's actually holding them back. That's it. You could keep grinding, watching random guides and hoping for progress, but how much time will you waste before realizing something is missing? You could finally find the real mistakes that have been keeping you stuck and start making real progress. You have already put in the effort. Now let's make sure it pays off. Book your coaching session now at bizarre.com. And a lot of more people should use this. Yeah, definitely good. Then you have the range for abilities. You should play Quickcast 100%. Like there is no reason to play normal cast unless you play like the game for like half a year or a year. But if you played more, then obviously you should do Quickcast for obvious reasons. Less input. You just like don't have to. Because on normal cast is basically when I press Q, I Q and I do left click as well, right? It's quite slow if you really ask me, right? So if I woke up on him and I try to queue, I want it to be like as fast as humanly possible, right? So that's like the bottom line. So yeah, I think that you need the range in a way is, I mean, you should know it, right? But what pro players do, they go to settings right here and they actually put this normal cast, spell 1, spell 2, spell 3, spell 4. They do have the settings and obviously on the word as well, if that's what you, oh, this is the summoner spell, and down you can put it on the word as well on the items, right? So what this does is that I'm going to have, quick cast, but when I press shift and Q, I can actually see my range, and it's quite decent because, if you're playing a champion that maybe, for example, you're trying to farm, let's say you're trying to farm the wave, and you don't know the absolute exact range. Like let's say there is an enemy that is zoning me there, and I want to know the absolute exact range because I might know the Q range, but I want to be the absolute exact. So I do this, I see the range, and look at this. You see this? Like I go for like absolute max range. You see that? That's how you do it, right? So you press Shift Q, and you see, because if you try to estimate it, you might be right. I mean, I know you know your range, but if you want to be absolutely look crazy, exact and precise, I would use this setting, right? And obviously on abilities like E doesn't work because you don't have a range. On the R, it doesn't work because you don't have it does have a range, but if you press Shift R, it's just gonna cast. So just on this projectile abilities, it's basically better. Look, if I do Shift W here, W doesn't have a range, so it's just gonna pop like this. Make sure you also bind it on the word. So when you press Shift and 4, it's actually going to, so trinket, Shift 4 like this, right? Because in bot lane, like if you watch like challenger replays and stuff like that. So what people do is that they want to be like super precise. So what they do when they ward, so I see it a lot in like emerald, gold, people are like going and they try to ward the brush, but they stay so close to the brush, they just ward and they back. This is like the normal bronze. I mean, when I mean bronze, I don't see, because even in low diamond when I play, I see this like pro players, what they do, it's like they are very precise. So look at this. That is one way and this is the other way. You click here, you go for the normal cast, you press shift 4 and pay attention to my word right now. Boom, and I run to the lane. You see, this is a human playing AD carry, or the emerald classic AD carry. Oh, I'm gonna ward this, bro. Yeah, but if someone is there while you don't have the word, you're just going to end up dying, right? So bottom line is that knowing the range of the abilities and knowing the range of the word, and like as you can see, it actually tells me, you know, where I put the range. When I put the range, it tells me two things. And yeah, it actually works the same for the control words. So it tells me two things. One, it tells me if it goes over the wall, which again, you probably know that if you keep your cursor basically a little bit more from the center, like this is the center, a little bit more up. If you click on it, it's gonna go over the wall. Same thing here. If I put my cursor on the, so there are two ways here, like two, like this is the first upper. So there are two ways, right? You have two, like let's say we try to cut it open, and you have the first half and the second half. If you're actually putting your cursor on the first half, it's not gonna go over the wall. If you're actually gonna put it a little bit above the center, like let's say the center is here and you click it there, right? It's actually gonna go over the wall, right? So again, things like this, it can help you, you know, knowing the range for abilities. It can definitely help. The next one is a quite important one, and it is F key. And F keying, it's a bit controversial because people always say, you know, oh, learn F keys, you know, I should learn F keys. The thing is, the point is just to not play locked camera. And this is the first thing that we are going to actually touch after I talk a little bit about F keys, right? So locked camera is pretty bad because obviously when you're going to play, there are cases where you don't actually see the HP of the enemy guy. And when you play, obviously, you need to know how low he is, so you can take a decision whether you want to move up and try to Q or back off. So, first of all, seeing the health bar is gonna make you make better decisions. And second of all, you want to see the health bar when he's walking up on you and trying to punish you. Because think about it, right? What you're physically seeing when you see that Caitlyn walking towards you is basically the HP bar. You're not actually looking. So if I play against the Ziggs, I'm not actually looking at his champion moving up. I'm actually looking at his health bar. And what do I mean by that? Well, as humans, as you can see right here, if I try to actually do this, it is so difficult to see Ziggs walking up, right? Okay, now he walks up, I back off, I try to respect, he walks up again. So it's so difficult for me to actually know what is going on because I don't see his health bar, right? Seeing the health bar is super important because the moment I see his health bar, it's so easy for me to adapt my clicks and be like, okay, he's walking up on me, he wants to punish me, I'm going to back off. Judging the decision is going to be based on, again, his health bar, he's walking up on me, I back off. So locked camera is pretty bad in almost always any situation. There are some pro players that play locked camera in the team fights, and it's not bad. And I'm gonna show you right now. So one of them is Double Lift and the other one is Pays. There are a lot of pro players that play locked camera, but they are like unlocking it a lot. So I'm gonna show you right now what I mean. Right? So if we go to Pays and we actually take a look at his gameplay, this is what I call a smart camera control. So if you're going to see, he plays locked camera in the majority of the cases when he's farming and when he's trading. But there are many cases in the laney phase where in order for him to play the lane, he needs to see the people walking up to him. He needs to see what is going on in the lane. So as you can see, he is playing locked camera. He sees the Jhin, he sees everyone on the screen, and that's pretty much it, right? If we speed up the video a little bit, he trades, he still plays locked camera. He is basically seeing all of the variables that he needs to see. One is the minion, two is bot supports, and his own support. So he sees all variables needed. The moment the enemy support or AD carry gets out of his screen, we're going to see very soon what he does. He will need a little bit of micro adjustments. Did you guys see that? So now he backs off, but the moment now he's like, oh, I don't see the Jhin HP. I don't see the exact minions. I need to know if any minion is getting low, so I can stay in the XP range at least to actually catch up the XP. So pay attention what Pace does right here. He moves the camera a little bit. He sees the dailies and then he locks it again, but then he unlocks it again to see the lane. So this is what I call a good locked camera control. And what I mean by that is very simple. Is you can play locked camera. You can play locked camera. As long as you're always making these micro adjustments, and the micro adjustments are not just, you know, looking 1 second and then pressing spacebar, but just sometimes also like holding and keeping your cursor and keeping your screen in an angle where you can actually see the enemy laner as well. So for example, if I'm here and the people are there, I'm not going to keep my locked screen. No, I'm going to play like this, and I'm going to play literally like this with my champion on the bottom of the screen. So if you want to play locked camera, which is not something that I recommended, but if you want to play, only play in teamfights, and every time when you don't see the HP of the people and the wave, make a micro adjustment and keep staying there, so you can actually see one, the both minion waves, two, your HP and the enemy's HP. Very important when you play. Okay, and yeah, if you guys are going to watch more Pace, he is playing locked camera, but this is a smart lock camera. Same thing when moving to the fight is very important. So if I want to know, let's say I'm on the river and I want to know if the fight bot is good, moving my camera. Okay, this is a 3 versus 1. It's not so good. I press spacebar. I choose my pathing. I look again. So you want to make sure you play. If you really want to play locked, you want to make these micro adjustments, and you don't want to click on the minimap. You want to unlock your camera and just hold spacebar. Very important. Like hold spacebar, and when they're coming to you, make the micro adjustment. You keep the screen there, and let's say now, because I see them on my screen, I can also like lock the screen like this, but always make these little small micro adjustments, just moving the camera up and down, especially when you're getting to the fight. Move your camera to the fight, look for like 2 seconds, keep it there, see what's going on, and don't look on the minimap, like don't do this, and don't keep it locked like this. This is bronze. It's very bad. And when you're looking, just look for like 2-3 seconds, then move this camera on your screen again to not lose track of your champion. Move it, pan it again to the enemies, and then that's how you play with lock camera. F keys, first of all, F keys can be good. I know players that reach challenger without F keys. It's not like must learn thing to play with F keys. So I don't think, should you learn it? I mean, the most important point is really you need to move your screen, right? Like if I want to go to the top fight and I want to see, let's say I'm on mid lane, and I want to see some people are fighting there, let's say, as you can see there. I want to see, do I want to be in this fight? So I move my camera, I see it's a 1 versus 2 fight, let's say, and then I choose to not move, because again, I move my camera, I see what's going on. Of course, I could also use F key, which is you press the key, F key, it goes to your champion and you go back. But really, you don't necessarily need this to improve on AD carry. It's a good habit to have, just because let's say my Soraka is in danger right here. I can always be like, okay, just press the F key and see if she's in danger, go back to bot lane. And if you want to play with them, that's absolutely fine. How do you do it? Well, I don't recommend F key. I actually recommend a little bit of different settings, Z, V, X, and V. That's what I recommend you, right? Why? Is because the F keys are super like, it's a bit uncomfortable to use, especially if you have like a small hand. And the Z, X, C, V, they are just very close to your to your fingers, right? That's what I recommend you using if you actually decide to play with that. Okay, the next thing is the PC. You want to have a good PC, right? You want to have good frames, good FPS, and a really good CPU is very important, because when you play this game, if you're lagging in team fights and you're playing AD carry, like it just comes down to you performing mechanically, and if you have a very bad PC, it's just gonna be very difficult. So if your PC is very bad, if your PC is very good, you're fine, you're settled, right? But if your PC is very bad, then what do you do? So what I would try to do is, obviously, let's say you cannot upgrade and you have like super low frames. So the first thing that I would do, I would put video settings on very low, and I would actually put on full screen as well, so it actually saves resources. And then I would try and experiment, and I know you guys are gonna be mad on me right now, but I would experiment with also like smaller resolutions, like either on full screen, which can be decent. But what I actually found when I played on like bad kind of PC is the following aspect, is that instead of playing full screen on one resolution, I could just simply just play window mode and it's going to actually feel better. I mean, now like this, right? And I know it doesn't like look very like professional and nice, and I know you guys are going to maybe hate me for putting it to play like this, but honestly, if you have good FPS like this, I'll always choose it, because yeah, I mean, I just like to not have like lag and stuff like that, right? So I do recommend you to play like this if you have really bad PC. I mean, you can even go as low as like something that is like still playable, like okay, maybe like this one is a bit it's a bit crazy, you know. But yeah, definitely if you're preferring, you know, to have 30 frames and to play like full HD, I would not recommend it 100%. And then the settings, obviously I recommend to have a monitor with minimum 140 Hz. If you have 120 Hz or 100, I don't recommend it. I personally feel like 144 is giving you a pretty big advantage, right? Just I'm not really, I don't know the math, like I don't know the science behind it. I just read and did my research, and even though the eye can only perceive like 30 frames on FPS, like when you're moving your camera very fast and you're trying to flash T-bursts, you're trying to like flash like Ezreal ulti and stuff, it actually, we want to be as smooth as possible. So if you have a 240 FPS, a 240 Hertz, you select the 240 FPS here. 144 Hertz, you select the 144 FPS. This is mouse, keyboard, and any other thing. I don't recommend you upgrading unless you are missing your keys or something. But monitor, if you can, you know, invest in the monitor, I think it is amazing to do it, and I think it's going to give you a big advantage. As long, like if you have like 60 Hertz or like 80 Hertz, I think it's super good investing in a at least 144 one, you know. I think it's like a pretty good deal if you ask me. Okay, then let's go to the settings though. So let's take a look at this. First of all, hotkeys, always quickcast. Whatever you try to bind here is basically preference. Here I have T. Then on the abilities, as I said, you just want to make sure you get the normal cast right there. And then if we scroll down, nothing crazy is here. Obviously, if you want to cast an ability on yourself, it's binding on Alt. Just keep it like that. When you're trying to level up an ability, make sure you use the control. You can also use shift. I mean, yeah, you can also like try to, you know, change them up in between them. But honestly, I think with control, it's quite good. So what do we have here more? On the items, same thing. If you want to, you know, have your trinket or see your range, you can just bind it to that. Nothing crazy. Player movement, yeah, as I told you, I recommend you to actually bind it to A and try to learn to attack, move, click. Camera control, I have it on space. You can have it on F1. I know Faker has it on F1 because he thinks it's actually easier to press. I don't believe that, but I mean, you can experiment it and see how it is. And then the F keys, we talked about it. Display, I personally have some pings here. Like for example, if I want to ping that we need to go Nashor or fight, I like to ping this one, and I like to have it binded on N. Just because it's simpler than just trying to, you know, look for the ping like this. It's just better to just press N. Also, when I play bot lane, obviously I like to tell my support what to do. I mean, I like to suggest things on the lane and kind of help my support to understand what I'm trying to do. So also the push ping, I have it on comma, as we guys can see here. That's what I believe is actually quite good. And then yeah, emote wheel, whatever, doesn't really matter. Here menus, I don't think it matters. I have the shop on C because I wanna have the shop on, you know, a very fast, because it's on P and I don't want to move my hand to press P, right? Or I click here. I could do this and just click on the shop, but on C it's just it's pretty nice to have it on C, honestly, because it's just so fast. You buy so fast, you go to the lane, it just comes in handy. I think double lift also plays with this, but if you have it on P and you just have like you used to click on the shop, honestly, just play with what you're used to. Doesn't really matter. Practice tool doesn't matter. And then this one, bind auto attack, move on the left click. You can if you're like having problems with like kiting and you want to kite like that, or you have like you can also do the attack, move, click on a mouse button if you want to, you know. You could. It's not a problem. For video, again, I recommend you to play with medium or high, but just don't have the shadow quality, just because there are some skill shots that if you play very low, you're not going to see like them very, very well, right? Some projectiles. So I recommend medium or very high. Okay, now if you have bad PC, I've always been playing very low and I've been okay with that, so no problem. If you want to bit balance between performance and quality, then you can go for medium. No problem with that. I personally, all my life, I played low, but you know, if you get a good PC, then you can play high. I think it's a small, super small advantage you have there. This never actually keep on, in my opinion. It's pretty bad for performance. This is really preference. You just have to like kind of see. It depends on your monitor, honestly. Depends on the colors of it and stuff. Just, yeah, make sure it's not too bright. Make sure it's not too, like, not being too dark, but at the same time, not making it too bright. So it actually gonna cause fatigueness when you play. On the sound, I mean, a lot of pro players, they don't play with music. They don't play with voice, and they don't play with ambient for obvious reasons. And now you're gonna say, oh, well, what obvious reasons? Well, it's simple. They want to make sure they hear the important stuff, right? And we know that as humans, we actually we respond to sound, to like audible effects faster than visual ones. So if I hear a cyan ulti, or if I see it on my screen at the exact time, the one that I'm gonna perceive first is actually the sound, right? So I try to make sound effects pretty loud, pings pretty loud. I mean, again, don't make it too loud. And these settings, again, you can try to follow it, but personally, sometimes I try to even like change it, and I play like that. I play absolutely fine, it's no problem. So yeah, that's the bottom line. You can try to, you know, make it very optimized here, not like have unnecessary settings here. Maybe you can even like, yeah, I personally play with voice because it just makes the game fun. There are a lot of settings that will actually make the game better, but like less fun. Like for example, to not have emotes at all. Like I like it, you know. So it's like depends on you if you want to actually enable them. Experience here is very important because you want to know when minions are dying, if you can actually get experience. It's super important. I don't think you should disable it with any cost. It's pretty important, and I think like most of the pro players have it as well. So that's what I have it there. So how does it work? It's very simple. Like if you're actually in range of the XP, let's say the minion dies right here, boom, do you see guys, plus 62 range, right? That's plus 62 XP, sorry. So yeah, it's quite good. Then emotes, yeah, I just keep them off usually. Emotes, small, you can put normal if you want, mute enemy emotes if you want, but honestly you can just press tab and just mute it in the game. Chat visibility, I personally don't like to have chat. I think you should have pre-made only on same team. I would never recommend anyone to have all chat. It's just so useless. If you play this game, you know, have fun, improve, you know, don't type. And now you're gonna say, okay, but you know, I like to see people are funny, this doesn't tilt me. If you're that kind of like guy and you don't really care about the chat and you're just, you know, you're like, oh, someone said the bad word, you know, it's so funny, I'm still gonna focus on my gameplay, sure, just be like that. But honestly, personally, I think for most people it's just better to just not play with chat. Timestamp is very important, because obviously you're going to see here exactly when you type something, and if you actually, you know, ping a flash, 922 Ashes flashed, I'm going to be 9 plus 5, which is 5 is the 9 is the current minute that we're in, and then 5 is the flash cooldown. So I'm going to say 14 flash Ash, and I can just do this, right? This is what pro players do. So how do they do it? They type, they calculate, you know, if someone uses flash, he presses tab, they just ping the enemy flash, they calculate the time, the current time plus 5 minutes plus the cooldown of the flash, and then they type it, they press Ctrl A and then Ctrl C, so they can actually you know, copy it, and then Ctrl C and then Ctrl V. So again, you type it, Besides is so good, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, enter, and then you have it there. Very simple, right? Yeah, okay. So we finished with the sound setting. With this interface settings, obviously make sure you have the neutral camps. It's just really important. Allow minimum movement is super good. Minutes per second, super good. Make sure you have this one. It's very important, so you can actually see the mana cost here. Attack range is his preference. This I would just actually definitely recommend to have it, just so you can see the lines instead of just seeing instead of just seeing like this, which is, yeah, not recommended. Not recommended. This one, I mean, it's actually useful because when you press, like, you don't have to press shift on the, because a lot of people don't know this, but you know, you go on the ability, you press shift, this is what's going to actually look like. Or if you just keep it here, it's fine. Enable, I mean, this one is just up to you, honestly. Screen flash on damage, I feel like this shouldn't be open, but honestly, it doesn't really matter that much. Show off screen pings, I play with it enabled. Then HUD animation, I don't think you should see any effect on the HP when you're getting, you know, if you're getting tower shot, like, I don't want to see any effect on that. Like, I want to see that I'm going to, you know, I don't want to see any flashy objects like on my screen that is going to distract me. So don't do this. Don't do this. And yeah, this one is preference. I play it with none just because I really want to focus just on me and the enemy champions, right? So I don't want to have any name there or like unnecessary stuff on my screen. I just want to focus on the fundamentals of the game. On the core aspects, but you can also put champion name. This is also all right. So because there are so many different skins in this one, in this game, so it's like sometimes it might look confusing, you know, who are you up against, you know, you can do that. HUD, never have it on 100. It's horrible. You're actually gonna miss a lot of space. As you can see, the guy is on my screen, but I can't see him. It's so horrible. Make sure you have it 0. If it's super small, maybe you can test it on like 20, but I don't think, if you play more than 30, I don't think that's very good at all. Cursor scale is preference, I keep it on 50. Ruler has it on like pretty big. There are players that have on 30. This is complete preference. I feel like 50 is just a moderate thing. Shop, I don't care. Chat scale, honestly, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, but just make sure your chat is visible. What I would do with the chat is more like this. I'll actually try to actually keep it down here. Just so I don't focus on it, so I can just, you know, play my game. And on my peripheral view, which is going to be basically this one, I don't want to have the chat. I want to have the chat there down. Okay, that is pretty much what I like to have. Minimap scale 85, that's too huge. I think maximum 70, but probably between 50 and 65 is like the perfect sweet spot. Don't have it too massive because it's going to take too much space, and don't have it too low. The default, I think it's on 33. So that's what I will do. I will actually keep it on 60 or 59, whatever the game allows me to. Objective planning scale, pretty useless. I don't really care that this is so useless. Keep it on 0. Practice tool scale doesn't matter. And then I think we're just fine here. Game, mouse speed, this is just preference. Honestly, whatever you feel playing with. The DPI, I mean, you can have it high, you can have it low. Deft place it with the low DPI. Viper place it with the high DPI. Like, there are some pro players high, some pro players low DPI. Honestly, whatever you feel it's better, you just want to make sure you are able to hit your stuff, so you have enough precision and stability, but at the same time you want to be able to like move your camera pretty fast, so you can actually, if you're moving, you know, you want to make sure you still can move your cameras, because too much precision is good, I mean, obviously, but then if you're not going to have the speed that you need, then it's bad. So make sure you make a balance. This one is quite interesting. You have some pro players play per side offset. So what this does is, so I'm playing here. Fixed side means my champion is fixed in the center when I press spacebar, when I lock my camera, but per offside is just going to slightly move my screen towards the enemy, which I don't like it, because if I'm getting ganked from behind, like from there, I don't actually see the guy, right? But if I play fixed offset, I actually have a higher chance to see him. It's a bit of a preference as well. Again, I see a lot of pro players, they still play with per offside, but I feel like fixed is better if you have a good camera control. If you don't, I mean, probably per offside is going to help you with the camera, but you should fix your camera. You should really fix your camera if you want to get better at this game. The next setting is going to be the auto attack. So this one I always disable it. The reason why I disable it is because there are champions that root you, and the moment the champion roots you, this auto attack setting, what it's going to do is going to automatically hit the enemy target. And if you're doing that into a tower, it's actually going to be pretty bad, right? So I do not recommend that at all. The auto attack, it might be good on champs like Braum, like when you have to get that auto attack immediately because you just want to put your bets on someone. But even on that champ, I think it's quite bad. So for example, in this example, we have Zyra, right? When she's going to actually root me, so I'm going to actually yeah, okay, here, do you guys see that my champion is automatically hitting something, the closest target, when I have the auto attack, especially So when you get rooted, if you're into the tower, think about it. That's going to be so bad. Imagine against a Morgana, you're trying to dive. You're like there, she hits the binding on you, and then you're like attacking her by mistake, right? So that's what this auto attack setting is going to do. The moment you get rooted, let's say there are no minions around. Let's actually make a perfect example. Look, there is no minions around. Let's see if this area, please use E. Please use E. Please use E. No? Don't use E? Yeah. Did you guys see that? My champion automatically attacks the target that the root came from, right? So I do not recommend to play auto attack on. It is a pretty bad setting, I think. So there is no that here. I mean, the camera has to be pretty fast, but not too fast actually. Like this is quite decent for me. Like if you're actually finding yourself on like this like too hard, like it's too hard to like be precise, but at the same time I see a lot of players like this, like, bro, are you grandpa or what is happening? Why are you moving it so slow? So it's like try to find the mid like balance. I mean, I keep it on 57. I don't think it's the absolute best thing. I think you can keep it on 40. I mean, I don't think, let me see, so 39. Yeah, I think that below 30 is quite horrible to have it. Yeah, I think even 30 feels pretty bad. So I think maybe a good threshold would be between 35 and 55, but personally I prefer the higher the better. But of course depends on your DPI as well, on your mouse as well, like how fast you're moving your screen. Just make sure it's not too fast when you're like penning for to see something on the screen, but make sure it's not too slow. That is the what I would say. Okay, so you have here in the interface settings where it says champions highlight on camera center. When I press spacebar, nothing happens, but if I actually enable this, when I press spacebar, it actually shows my champion. I mean, this is a bit of a silly. I mean, obviously you guys are gonna say, oh, but why would I need that? Well, in a team fight when there is so many people with you, you will need it, right? You will need it because you just have like 20 people around you and you want to know where you are. I think it's quite decent, it's quite decent to have. Okay, the next one is going to be mouse acceleration. For those of you who don't know what mouse acceleration is, first of all, you should never play with this. It's so bad. And this one right here, enhanced pointer precision, it's very bad to have it on. Make sure it's off. Make sure you don't play with it. It's pretty bad. So you're going to have some what it does basically is that the mouse acceleration is going to make your movement very inconsistent. With it, if you have it on, your cursor moves faster if you move your mouse quickly and slower if you move it slowly. So this will mean the same hand movement can result in different cursor distance, making aiming and muscle memory unreliable. With acceleration off, your cursor always moves the same distance no matter how fast you move your mouse, but this makes it more consistent. That's basically it. So your brain can actually develop a better muscle memory for precise aiming. So don't have it, please. Just make it in favor. Do not have it. Different settings. I mean, you can also do here. You can make sure you enable low spec mode if you have, but see, I think it's good. I think it's pretty good to actually have the settings on. And then what is the last one that I want to know? Okay, so the last one that I actually feel like it's very, 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 very helpful is the following setting, is what I'm going to show you right here. So I played this game, and the moment I actually go into the game, as you guys can see right here, you have muted everyone's chat. How did I do it? Very simple. So what you want to do, so you actually don't have chat on, because obviously for obvious reasons you don't like to have chat on. If just there is so much unnecessary things that are like talked from the chat, and usually it's just things that happened in the past and things that just are irrelevant. So what I do is I mute all, but I still need the ping. So what I do, I type mute all, and what this is going to do is actually going to mute all of my teammates. Doesn't work now because this is a bot game, right? But after you do that, you have to press basically mute pings all. If you do that, what this is going to do is actually going to enable the pings that you have muted, right? Very simple. You go into game, you type mute all, you have muted everyone's chat, emotes, and pings, and then you say mute pings all, boom. And then now everyone pings are unmuted, as you can see. Obviously, the other trick would be to just hold mute the player, but what this does is just going to mute everything, which, yeah, probably don't want, right? Laning phase as AD carry is basically the first 10 minutes of the game. But let's talk about your goals. What should be your main objective as an AD carry? The overall goal of an AD carry is farming and not dying, and this applies to most AD carries. But the first thing you need to understand is the champion identity. A Draven win condition is to dominate early game, while a Jinx goal is to scale safely. Your playstyle must reflect this. For example, in the lane phase, you should play for power spikes depending on the champion you play. Samira, level 3 power spike, so you play safe until 3, don't get poked, and then you look for aggression. Kaisa, Q evolve is a major power spike, but she has a strong early game if she can get on top of people. Smolder, you play safe until 25 stacks, after that trading is possible, but you're still not strong. But be careful, your super matchup can completely change your laning phase goal. For example, Draven usually wants to dominate early game, while Jinx typically plays safe and scale. But if the Draven is paired with a Yuumi, and Jinx has a Blitzcrank, suddenly Jinx can play to win the lane while Draven is forced to play safer. One mistake many low elo players make is not respecting recall timings. Farming is #1 priority, but overstaying in lane or not knowing when to reset can ruin your tempo. We will cover this into later in this video. Also, farming is important, but that doesn't mean you should always prioritize the farm no matter what. I will teach you later how to decide between taking the fight and taking the farm, so you can maximize your impact as an AD carry. Understanding your matchup as an AD carry. When playing AD carry, understanding your matchup is key to knowing how to approach the lane. But how do you compare the match? First, you have to compare AD carry versus AD carry and support versus support individually. AD carry versus AD carry. Who is stronger early game? What is their win condition? For example, Draven beats Twitch in a 1v1 early because of his stronger lane phase. Support versus support. Who has the stronger all-in or poke? For example, Nautilus is stronger than Janna in all-ins, but Janna provides better poke and sustain. If we compare the whole example, Draven Nautilus versus Twitch Janna, so the Draven Nautilus should play to win, to stomp. Twitch Janna should just play to trade back, be safe, don't get hooked. Secondly, you have to also consider synergy and counterplay. Just because one lane is individually stronger doesn't always mean it will win. You need to factor in synergy and counterplay. The synergy can be important. For example, Draven Nautilus versus Lucian Nami. Draven and Nautilus are both stronger individually, but Lucian and Nami have better synergy. This means the matchup can go either way depending on execution. In terms of the counterplay, if we compare Draven Nami versus Twitch Nico, Draven is much stronger than Twitch early game, and Nami has better synergy with Draven than Nico does with Twitch. Twitch Nico have some strong potential of engage, good poke, but Draven's early game power is so good with Nami and they can play aggressively and snowball the game. The lane can also be a counter to the main win condition. For example, Draven Nautilus versus Sivir Morgana. Draven is much stronger than Sivir early game and Nautilus is better in all lanes than Morgana. But Morgana's Black Shield and Sivir Spell Shield can shut down completely the Nautilus engage, making it much harder for Draven to take advantage of his power. So despite Draven's strengths, the shield turned the matchup more favorable for Sivir and Morgana. So to summarize it up, 1. You have to compare AD carry versus AD carry and support versus support. 2. You have to factor in the synergy and the counterplay. And 3. You have to identify your lane win condition, poke, all-in, or playing safe. Speaking of poke, all-in, or playing safe, let's dive into the type of the matchups. All-in versus poke. If you're playing an all-in lane, the most important thing is identifying when and how you win fights. Your win condition is based on your support's ability to engage effectively. For example, in a Samira Nautilus versus Caitlyn Lux matchup, the enemy lane has a strong lane phase poke and strong range advantage. This means at level 1 and at level 2, as a Samira, you cannot contest the wave easily. Caitlyn Lux will naturally control the wave and the lane due to their superior range. In terms of the HP management, it's okay to lose a bit of HP to secure last hits, but avoid unnecessary trades. Never try to match poke with poke, you will always lose against a poke lane. And if they try to drop you below 50%, it's better to even consider giving up the minion, because if you hit level 3 and you are low, the all-in potential is inexistent. The plan should be to play safe, minimize poke, and wait for your level 3 spike. If you take too much damage early on, level 1 and level 2, your all-in becomes impossible. The win condition is simply look for Nautilus hook once you hit level 3. That's when you can turn the fights and punish their squishiness. Pay attention to the following example right here. We have a challenge game on your screen at the moment. So we have Samira and we have Leona. So what do you think they should do? It's quite simple, right? We just explained it. Samira is weaker than Draven. We know that Draven is going to pressure Samira at Leon, and Leona versus Brand, we don't even need to talk about. They will get zoned, they will get poked, and this is what they do. They should play for level 3. So the enemy should zone and not even push the wave. The enemy should try to hit the enemies and not let them try to walk up. As we can see right here, the challenger bot lane, they're just going to poke. They're just going to get as much pressure as possible. Samara is taking some minions. She's dropping a little bit of HP, just trying to get some minions. But from this point, she will try to not lose much HP. Of course, if this is a gold, platinum, emerald game, the Brand / Draven, they won't be really that good to zone out of the XP, which in this case, of course, since this is high elo, this happens and there's not really much you can do other than trying to walk into the XP range, which again is not possible in super high elo. So if we speed up right here, the concept is extremely simple. They will try to get as much farm as they can. They will try to not drop HP. Samara is beautifully conserving her HP. That doesn't mean she's going to be absolutely 100% HP, but that means with her farm, she'll try to not lose much HP and she'll try to get as much minions as possible. 11 farm against 18. This is a pretty big difference, but as we see on the screen, Brand just used his flash and they didn't even hit level 3. So what's going to happen is pretty intuitive, right? The Leona is going to go in and it's level 3, so they should look for the fight. So what are they going to do? If we speed up a little bit right now, we can see that slowly but surely, Leona goes in and Samira is level 3. And we see it's easy peasy, level 3 all in, very, very easy. So what did they do? They waited, they were patient for their power spike, they didn't get too much poke, but at the same time they got as much CS and experience as possible, and they played around power spike. This is the all-in versus poke lane. Now, let's talk about the poke versus all-in lane. In a poke versus all-in lane, your plan is the opposite of the all-in lane's goal. Poke and whistle down the enemy by chunking their HP, slowly making them bleed. The goal is to leave them low enough before they hit level 3 or level 2 power spike, depending on the lane. So once they hit their power spike, they are too low to engage effectively. The key points to focus on are the following. 1. Poke effectively with your range. You want to keep your opponents at a distance and gradually wear them down. Don't push too hard. You want to manage the wave, not shove it. Avoid giving them easy opportunities for trades or all-in. And the last one, when they are low enough that they can't engage or the all-in, the lane is basically over. From that point forward, you've won and can control the tempo of the lane. Here is one example that you can see on your screen. This is a Master Grandmaster lobby. Most of the players are around Grandmaster. Pay attention to this. So we are playing Rel into Nami, so melee versus range. We have an all-in versus poke lane. They have Corki. Corki is also stronger than Xayah. Nami is stronger in terms of range than Nami, at least early on. So let's see what these people do. So they get control of the wave right here. We see that Corki and Nami, they already step up. They already try to actually punish us, and they don't really let us breathe. It's really hard to play this lane just because 1, they don't shove it too fast. 2, they are using their range. And 3, every time when we want to get XP, they are just punishing. Of course, in a lower MMR, like maybe in Emerald, maybe in Gold, these people are not going to zone you this much, but this is the concept, where the enemy is down. So if we speed up, Corki is going to poke Xayah again and again and again and again, and it's really difficult for us to really do anything because when we're trying to all-in, they're just respecting really well, and they're trying to make us bleed. What is the goal here? Well, if we're low enough, as you guys can see here, I had forced an all-in and we can't really kill them. So now I even made it worse. We're low, we're under the tower. It's gonna be worse and worse and worse. This Corki is already like 5, 6, 7 minions ahead, and it's already, this is the 4th wave, right? So it's gonna be, and in low elo, if you have Xayah, you don't have a Grandmaster Xayah, most likely the enemy AD carry is gonna lose a lot of minions under the tower. So just pay attention to this screen. Can't do anything with Rel. My Xayah can't really do anything. Can't all in. We're down. If I all in, we're most likely gonna die because I'm just too low. We just have to wait for jungle, where jungle is playing top, so we are weak side. So they played this laning phase extremely well. They poke us and they execute this clean. Right now, it is almost impossible for us to really go for the all-in. And from this point on, it is just over. They will poke us down. We will lose more CS and more CS and more CS. And we just had to call our jungle right now to push this wave so we can get a reset because otherwise it will be almost impossible for us to really get something positive in this current lane, since they played the lane really well. All in versus all in. In this lane, all you have to do is play well around your support's engage style. The key is making sure you utilize your own engage better than the enemy. That starts with wave control, get push control, maintain your minion lead, and hit level 2 first. Remember, 9 minions is level 2. The first wave and the first 3 melee minions. That's in bot lane. In all-in versus all-in matchups, whoever gets level 2 priority first usually has a massive advantage and can force the fight on their own terms. Sometimes the matchup might revolve around level 3 spikes. For example, if you're playing with champions that have their full combo unlocked at level 3. But level 2 is typically the most impactful early window. Also, don't forget about cooldown tracking. If the enemy misses a key ability while you're level 1, you can actually have a window to punish even before level 2. The minion advantage is your shield. You can use the minions to dodge a hook, sit behind to be safe, or just fight around the minion. But we will talk about minions later. This is right here a platinum game, normal, average rank. We're gonna see what they do. It is a Braum against a Leona, all in versus all in. Ashe is slightly stronger than Aphelios. Actually, Ashe is pretty strong early game compared to Aphelios. But if the Aphelios utilizes level 2 advantage, well, he can win. Braum is not the best all in engage. Nautilus, Leona, Alistar, all are so strong at level 2. Braum is not really the all-in that you're looking for. He has some all-in, but not the all-in that you're looking for. So let's see what they do. So we can see that level 1, Aphelios is trying to get the push. The both matchups try to get the push. Ashe did hit the minions less than the Aphelios because she was actually focused on punishing the Braum. That's fine auto attack, but the second auto attack is actually quite bad. She should instead just focus on the minions. She should try to push. She should try to get prio, and we will see that the Aphelios lane, they are trying to get the push. We see that Aphelios is actually playing quite well. This is actually close to Emerald, so I really love how Aphelios is playing. He knows that he needs level 2 advantage, but at the same time, he utilizes his range very well. He's like, hey, I have now the minion lead. Hey, I have the gun, the green gun, the Calibrum, and I can poke. So if the Ashe is actually going to try to get the minions when my minions have more HP, then I can always walk up and punish the Ashe. As we can see here, he has a minion lead and he's looking to punish. Now he's like, no, it's a battle for level 2. I see that they're contesting the wave. I'm gonna match auto attacks. And now he walks up, all-ins Leona and GGBG. It's so difficult for Leona to play now. Ashe is gonna miss farm under the tower. And if Leona decides to go in, if Leona tries to do something crazy, she's most likely going to, yeah, we can see it on the screen. So what did Ashe do wrong? I like that she tried to punish a little bit at level 1. The Braum, it is good to try to push the Braum out of the lane so he doesn't really attack the minions like this. The first attack is good, but she was like keep focusing on punishing. And don't get me wrong, sometimes if you know that you can significantly chunk the Braum to like half HP or 60%, while losing the push, that can be good. Losing the push, there are cases where it could be good, but just for those 2 auto attacks, losing the push is not worth it. Especially because Aphelios, in the meantime, he was hitting the minion. So from this point, Aphelios should just utilize his range, try to poke them so they can actually wear them down. And when Braum is level 2, if they are like half HP, even a Braum can just all in level 2. That's how you play this matchup. Poke versus poke. In this type of lane, it's all about playing around your advantage. Typically, that means your range and your support poke potential. Once again, push is extremely important. Don't underestimate the value of a mini lead. If you can control the wave and get the push, you will gain space to poke safely. If you manage to set up a controlled, slow push and land consistent poke during it, the lane starts to snowball in your favor. The enemy will be forced to back off or risk getting chunked out, and from there, the lane just becomes harder and harder to play. Control the wave, use range, poke with purpose. Pay attention to this example in Korean Challenger ladder. We have Varus Lethality and Lulu double range against double range. Morgana Caitlyn has a bit more range, has a bit more poke, also all-in potential, but Lethality Varus, it is very annoying, has a lot of range as well. So even though Lethality Varus is slightly weaker overall with Lulu than Morgana is with Caitlyn, they need to get the push. And we see that the Varus tried to poke. Now Lulu tried to poke at level 1. She did step up a little bit too aggressive right there, but all what it matters is let's get the push, let's get the Let's get the shove. I'm gonna use my Q on the minions with the Caitlyn right here. I'll try to pressure the wave. If we get a push, we will be able to poke consistently. And if we speed up, we can see that the Caitlyn got the push right here. Obviously, she's also respecting very well the Lulu. Like we can see that the Caitlyn, after she uses the Q, she hovers left hand side. We have no Morgana Q. We're backing off. Morgana is backing off. Caitlyn is backing off. So this Lulu Q is missed, as we can see. And now since she missed it, right now we see Caitlyn is walking forward and still thinking about, I need to push, I need to push, I need to push. Because if I push, I can, you know, walk up and poke. And after they do that, now they get the push advantage and easy peasy lemon squeezy. We just get the all-in. Sometimes you're not going to get the all-in if you get the push. Sometimes you're just going to get a good chunk on the enemy, but pay attention to this. If Lulu is in this position against Caitlyn, Morgana, or Caitlyn is going to put drops into the tower, it is just unplayable for the Varus side. He's going to get pushed in again and again. We will talk about jungle tracking and we will talk about when you shouldn't push based on the jungle, but in this case, that's basically how you play until like 310, 315, where the enemy jungle is most likely not going to gank. And from then and on, we will talk about on the jungle tracking, what should we do with the wards, when should you push based on the jungle, because we basically talked about the first 3 to 4 waves that you should get pushed, but we'll see later on if it's actually good to get pushed. Here are 3 common mistakes of every type of matchup. Poke versus all-in. We see Jinx Renata against Alistar with Caitlyn. Renata should be zoning Alistar level 1 and the Jinx should also do the same. They have more range, and Caitlyn, all what she should do is 1, don't get punished, don't get chunked, conserve HP, and 2, Jinx should be looking to punish and play aggressive. Pay attention to the Renata in this case right here. She's playing really safe. The Alistar range is this range, the Renata range is this range, Jinx range is this range, and yes, Caitlyn range is this range. But at the same time, Renata should be zoning. Pay attention to her clicks. She's clicking up, she's clicking down. She should go into this brush, word, use her E, use her auto attacks on the Alistar, and punish. The first mistake is you have more range, but you're not utilizing it. You're thinking too much about the push, but you're not seeing, hey, I have more range, I should be poking. They need the level 2 all in. I can do poke at level 1. I don't need to get level 2 as Renata versus Alistar. I can poke at level 1 and I'm anyways going to get level 2 because I have range advantage. Like a situation, please do not leash. You want to get to the laning phase as fast as humanly possible so you can start pushing, get prior and get position in the laning phase. They leashed right here and this is a leash on Samira Nautilus. So now we'll see that he also hooks. We can see that he has absolute no idea about the champion identity. If this hook lands, he's going to get chunked. And also the Samira will most likely get chunked just because these people have a poke lane. We're going to trade a little bit of HP for a little bit of HP. And in a poke matchup, this is going to be very bad because they will slowly wear us down. They will poke us. This guy should wait for level 3. He can look to hook aggressively, but only if he has a really easy opening or we have more minions or an advantage that we have inside of the lane phase. We can also see that the Zerat is absolutely so safe. He has absolute no idea. Platinum players, absolute no idea how to play the matchup. We see Zerat just clicking back. All what he had to do is walk up, W Samira, click aggressively. Samira Nautilus, they are strong at level 3. So as long as you stay behind the minions, nothing can happen. So 1, don't leash and make sure you play around your champion identity. And 2, be sure if you have a poke lane to use that range advantage and play around it. I want you to watch this sequence. Pay attention to the screen. So Nautilus is actually playing really well. He's trying to hook, back off. This is a gold game and I was absolutely surprised on how well this Nautilus played. He looked for some really nice openings into the laning phase and he was trying to play super aggressive. Yes, he missed some hooks, but god, this hook is such a nice hook, such a nice angle. We can see the minions just really clean here. Try to go for a super good hook and I was like, bro, is this guy smurfing? How can he be hard stuck when he's playing so good? He looks for the right openings. Pay attention to this following hook right here. He walks up and then right here he just misses, but it's just so close because just like hitbox doesn't actually get him. And I was like, bro, how is this guy low elo? How is this guy gold? He's just platinum. How is he? It's just so crazy. And he was looking for some openings. He was also patient at some point. Like now he's actually having the hook, but he was patient. Okay, he missed it. He goes for decent vision right here. He goes for some wards on the river very soon. And he was playing really well. He was missing most of the hooks, but I really like his openings, and I feel like if he has a better game next time and he just has better aim, it's gonna be easier. But pay attention on your screen right now. He misses this hook. W or Talia is used, E of Talia is used, Q of Jhin is used. So they're basically on cooldown for like 10 seconds. So if he gets hit by this W, he's gonna get a bit more chunked, but nothing will really happen here because they have no abilities and Ziggs is actually gonna punish them. What is the mistake here? The crucial mistake here, the reason why he's gold is because of this. He just flashes the W of the Jhin, which will not result into anything. You actually wanted to fight this because Ziggs was actually gonna chunk Jhin. Kha'Zix is here, he can just sneak behind. You want to force this fight. This is what, because he doesn't track his abilities. He doesn't track the abilities of enemies. The first mistake of poke versus poke is that you're not playing for the push. Pay attention to this Mel on your screen. Just trying to cheese, trying to go on the enemies and trying to go play slow just for the poke. When the most important thing in poke versus poke is to get push. What is going to happen? This Jhin is going to Q the minions constantly. He's going to try to get prio as Mel is thinking about, hey, I'm going to punish, I'm going to poke, which as you can see right now, it did not really pay off. Now the Mel is going to poke and Jhin has push, and because Jhin has push, they also have more sustain with the Nami. It's gonna be pretty easy for Jhin to actually consistently go for poke. And yes, Mel is E, still annoying, but as we can see right now, the Mel can't really do much because she doesn't have the push. She's gonna get chunked and it's gonna be from worse to worse to worse. The next mistake in poke versus poke is not seeing that you have more range. So we have Corki against Tristana. Corki is a lot stronger level 1 than Tristana, and Milio is a little bit stronger than Lulu early on as well. Since level 1 he does have 2 shields. Pay attention to what Corki does. He's doing nothing wrong. He's just pushing. Tristana is just pushing. Just Corki is just taking more minions. Now I want Corki to punish because he has more range. Yes, he controlled the wave, so now he can just poke aggressively. We saw that he had that minion lead right here and he wasn't doing anything. He was just keep pushing instead of walking up right here and punishing. Also, Milio should be stepping up, warding this brush. Since he has this minion lead, they can use it by trading and they can easily do something. So what I didn't like here is that he's just so focused on pushing, and now when he needs to punish because he has more minions, he's thinking, okay, I can't do it. I want to get level 2 advantage. Fuck that. You don't need level 2 advantage in matchups like this. You can play around your range. If you have more range, you can poke aggressively, and if you have more minions like he has right now, you can step up right here and just poke. Both of the supports, both of the AD carries are clueless, and also we can see this Lulu should never stay into this brush when enemy have bigger wave, because if Corki is human, this is gold, but if Corki is human, he can just W right away and he can just trade. We see that they get level 2, they don't even try to go in on level 2, and we see what happens if they go in. Obviously, if they actually poke first at level 1 with the minions advantage, it's going to be massive advantage. Also, the level 2 all-in was super slow. It's all over the place in low elo. Same example right here when the Soraka and Jinx are actually cheesing, when what they should do is stay into the lane, start pushing, get prio, and after they get prio, they should use the minions advantage to poke or the range advantage to poke. Jhin goes to the laning phase, Qs right away on the minions, and this is what happens. They were too focused on doing the damage on the enemies, poking them, when the most important thing was taking the wave advantage. You can see that right now Jinx is going to be in trouble very soon because yes, she tried to go for some poke level 1, but pay attention on your screen, she can't do anything. She's going to get poked on the tower by Vel'Koz, she will miss minions, and it's going to be harder and harder and harder and harder. The next mistake in poke versus poke is you should get first in the laning phase and do it fast. If you don't get it fast, it's pretty bad. Pay attention to the Caitlyn right now. She went for a leash, which is horrible to do in solo queue, by the way. The enemy are just there already, and now we see that she's already late. She needs to queue the first minions. Now, ideally, Soraka is stronger than Janna early on, so she should queue the minions, because if she gets the push, she has a chance to poke as Caitlyn. She goes into the brush and she doesn't actually queue the wave. She should basically queue the wave on cooldown immediately, queue after queue after queue, because if she gets the push, she might actually go for some poke, she might get level 2 advantage, but in this case, it's not even about level 2 advantage, it's about getting the prio so you can use your range. So here they leashed, which was a mistake, and second mistake is that they weren't actually looking to push the wave as fast as they should with the Qs. And here the last mistake is the enemy have more minions right here, and Caitlyn stays like a bronze player into the brush. Now she's just tanking absolute free minions from the damage, and we can see it's like 50 damage, but it's still like pretty annoying that she should never do that, right? And they lose the push as Caitlyn. Getting pushed in by Caitlyn is a bit embarrassing, to be honest. In all-in versus all-in, pay attention to your screen. Sivir Blitzcrank against Alistar Caitlyn. The Sivir is actually punishing the Alistar as he's a weak champion early on. So what Caitlyn should do right here, she should Q right away the minions so she can get the push. She's too focused on last hitting the minions without queuing the wave. If you don't get push, you won't get level 2 advantage. And if you don't get level 2 advantage in an all-in versus all-in, that is crucial. Pay attention to Blitzcrank now because of that minion advantage that Blitzcrank had. Now it's actually just HP advantage. Now it's going to be very hard for the enemy to contest prio, and they will most likely die because this left hand side blue side angle is just having the push. Easy peasy lemon squeezy right here. The next mistake is cheesing an all-in versus all-in without knowing your power of the champion. Xayah is a pretty weak champion. We see press the attack right now. Most of the cases starts Q. She's very weak at level 1. If she starts W, she's useful. Braum is relatively strong at level 1. Leona is also relatively strong at level 1, but Xayah with Kai'Sa with little tempo is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, after Kalista laning phase champion. Pay attention to what happens right here. So Kai'Sa goes to the brush. We see that we have Leona right here, and they are looking to cheese. All what they do is poking the Kai'Sa a little bit, but what's going to happen right now, it's going to hurt because as Xayah didn't start her W, this cheese is absolutely just worthless. It's so bad because now they will lose the push. They did chunk the Braum a little bit, which means nothing. It's just better to just stay in the lane, slowly get the push, and with the range advantage, with the minion advantage, you can still poke the Kai'Sa or simply keep the wave in the middle, get level 2 advantage, and play from there. The Kai'Sa mistake is also like she's also making a mistake. As we can see, she's pushing way too fast. There is absolutely no universe where Leona can go under the tower. Think about Leona going here on Xayah. It's so deep. It's super close to the tower range. So Xayah is making mistakes like bronze mistakes. Kai'Sa is making bronze mistakes. This is a platinum game. In low elo, people don't really play the matchups well. If you play all-in versus all-in, but you have more range, you can also do that. You can punish with the range. We have Ashe against Ezreal, and we have Blitzcrank and Nautilus. Blitzcrank and Nautilus is a pretty common, pretty 50-50 matchup, but Ashe versus Ezreal, he should be punished, right? So especially right here where Nautilus wasn't in the laning phase, all what Ashe should do right now, she has more minions advantage, she should walk up, stay behind the minions to not get Ezreal queued or Nautilus queued if he's in the brush, and she should do the poke. Right now he's doing a bit of poke with Ashe, that was amazing, but she should keep doing it. Stay behind the minions, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Pay attention to the Ashe right now. She's taking the minions, walking up. So this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. The problem is that she took too much minion damage right here, and she wasn't really punishing enough. Like now she can still do the same thing. Now she's level 2. She should be exactly right here. This minion is healthy enough to protect her from the Nautilus hook. She should be punishing. She should be walking up. She should be doing. Pay attention onto the next wave. Do not push. You have the push right now. Stay behind the minions. It's simple. You have the all-in lane, you keep pushing. First, you push too fast. All-in versus all-in means the wave needs to be in the middle. Second, if you have range advantage and minion advantage, yeah, you know what to do. Walk up and auto-attack them. Some lanes should not be played proactively. In addition to the common matchup styles, there are situations where trading early or trying to play proactively is simply not worth it. Take Vayne and Yuumi, for example. Let's say you play against a Caitlyn Lux. In this case, your only real goal is to conserve HP and wait for jungle pressure. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, besides, are you telling me to just AFK and wait for my jungle? Well, kind of. If you pick 2 early game champions into one of the strongest early game lanes, that's on you really. The correct move here is to play defensive, minimize damage, keep CS up and scale. Or just don't pick such a weak lane in the first place. Maybe ask your support what they play before you actually lock in something like Vayne. There are several things that can influence how volatile a matchup becomes. 1. Summoner spell. Vayne, let's say it's with a Braum with heal, or let's say the same Vayne has a Braum with ignite, can be played slightly different. The runes and keystones can also influence the matchup. If I play Vayne with a Lux with Guardians, or if I play the same Vayne with Lux with Comet, that can also be played differently. The jungle matchup and pathing and super plus jungle interaction is also a thing that you need to consider. When challenger players draft or play out the matchup, they don't just think about the 2v2, they're also thinking about how jungle and support interact to create threat. For example, if I'm playing something like Jinx versus Soraka Shyvana, I feel pretty safe. The enemy has low threat from both jungle and support. But if I'm playing the same Jinx and the enemy has Nautilus in the support, and a Lee Sin in the jungle, or maybe they have a Pyke in the support and a Lee Sin in the jungle, the lane becomes volatile fast. These champions have strong engage and follow-up, so I have to instantly switch to a much more defensive playstyle just to survive the early game. Now let's talk about trading. How do you know when you should trade? Simple. You trade based on the goal of your lane. Let's say you're playing Caitlyn Lux. By now you already know your lane is built around your range advantage, so naturally you want to trade when you can poke for free and slowly wear the enemies down. But it's not just about range. You should look to trade whenever you have a clear advantage, such as 1. Cooldown advantage. The enemy uses an ability, let's say the Blitzcrank missed the hook or Leona missed the E. That is an opening that you have to trade. This is your moment to punish. 2. Range advantage. You can auto attack or use spells without taking damage in return because you have more range. Those are the 3 trades that you can do that will win the lane over time. 3. Power spike advantage. You just hit level 2 or level 3 first. You can trade with your enemies because you're stronger. Or simply, let's say you have item advantage. Let's say you have Noon Quiver while the enemy is still on Doran's Blade. This means you have item advantage. Boom. Go and trade. Positioning. Say your support is close and posturing aggressively while the enemy duo is split or simply not synced with the AD carry. You should capitalize on that misposition. Awareness of both spacing and your support behavior is huge. Summon a spell advantage. Even in low elo where people might not punish a flashless AD carry, you should still recognize it as a window. The more tools the enemy lacks, the more aggressively you can play. Ashe without flash is a lot more vulnerable than Ashe with the flash. The bigger your advantage is, the harder you should push your trades. And if you don't have an advantage, your focus should be on either creating an advantage or avoiding bad trades or stalling the lane until you get one. The jungle influence can also be taken into consideration when looking to trade. You can't trade confidently without knowing where the enemy jungle is. A seemingly good trade can bait you into death if they are pathing onto the bot lane. They are pathing towards the bot lane. On the flip side, if your jungle is nearby, you can play up and potentially bait the enemy into a fight they can't win. The champion identity was also going to help you with that. Different champions want to do different things. Ezreal Jhin, they want to thrive on short poke trades. Draven Kalista, they want extended fights and all-ins. You should know what kind of trade your champion wants and don't play the enemy's game. Now I will be showing you a few examples for all the variables that will help you to know whether you should trade or not. First of all, I'll show you how to trade around cooldowns. The cooldowns can be short or it can be long. A long cooldown is around 12 to 20 seconds. A short cooldown is from 2 to 6 seconds. So pay attention to this example. So on the screen we do have Nautilus, Samira with Smolder and Xerath in the enemy team. Pay attention to what Nautilus does at level 1. He just throws his hook right away. What should they do right now if they are Smolder and Xerath? Well, since there is a 14 seconds cooldown on the Nautilus hook, they should be looking to walk up. They should be looking to zone. They should be looking to play aggressive. This is a platinum elo, so Xerath and Smolder should understand that there is no cooldown on Nautilus and walk up. As we can see, Xerath is useless, Smolder doesn't go for trades, he's clicking back, so both of them are clueless, and then now when the hook is about to be ready, they should be scared. So you should play around the cooldown. You should know roughly speaking when it's coming up, and if they don't have it, then look for a trade opportunity. In the next example, we will show you how to play around the cooldowns that are not so big. So this is Pace, JDG AD carry that was a Genji at that time, and against Ezreal. So now pay attention to what it does. So there is Ezreal Q. Ezreal Q has a pretty short cooldown, and when Ezreal Q hits, the cooldown is even reduced. Remember that the Ezreal Q is 5.5 seconds, and if he hits it on the minions, it's 1.5 seconds less, so around 4 seconds if he hits it on the minions or champions. So let's see what Paze is doing in this situation against Ezreal and Bard. So there is Q hit onto the minions. Paze is trying to auto attack them, but he knows he wants to get the push. There is the Q of Ezreal looked on the minions, and after the Q on the minions, look at Paze right here. This is super subtle as the Ezreal Q is a pretty short cooldown, but he's still walking up. Look at this. Boom. from this point, when you see Ezreal Q on the minions, you have basically 4 seconds when you can trade. Realistically speaking, if the cooldown is 4 seconds of the Q, you actually have 3 seconds to walk up and hit, because in the last second you have to retaliate and reposition it yourself. So pay attention to what Paze is doing when he knows Ezreal Q is done, and right here at this exact point he should like back off. He tanks the Q, but he can still do the same thing because they have no Q onto the Ezreal. So now he can just walk up a little bit and play aggressive. So now, same thing, Ezreal Q is 5.5 seconds, he missed it. What is he gonna do? Well, obviously after he's gonna get this minion, he still has like 2-3 seconds to walk up, pay attention, boom, miss the Q. What is Paze gonna do? Walk up and punish. So yeah, if the cooldown is 20 seconds like a blitzcrank hook, you can punish for longer, but if you can play around short cooldowns like 5 seconds, 6 seconds, that's also an option and you should do it. Trading can also occur if you have more range. So as I said, you should trade if you have some advantage, and now we will talk about the range advantage. Pay attention to this matchup. It is Caitlyn Karma against Nami Kaisa. We do have a range advantage, and all what I want to do is utilize this range advantage. Obviously I want to look to farm and I want to look to make sure I punish Kaisa. So as you can see, my clicking is really forward. I want to use my Q, I want to use my auto attack, I want to farm very well, but most importantly I want to use my range advantage. So after the last hit, every time when I have an opening, as you can see on the screen, I'm stepping up and I'm trying to move forward. I'm trying to move to try to do something. Pay attention to my champion right now. I have more advantage on the range specifically, then I don't need to push. I can just walk up and look to trade. I can walk up to look to zone. I can walk up to do something, and always be ready to punish. Here, same thing, ready to punish, ready to punish, ready to punish. I don't even need to hit the minions very much, only for last hit, and then boom, range advantage, range advantage, range advantage. Just punish the Kaisa every single time. Do you guys see that? The trading can also occur if you have a power spike, and a power spike can be you have more items or simply you have level advantage. In this case, what you have on the screen right now is Trinity Corki. Trinity Corki is a pretty strong buy, so what I do, I completely run her down. I know that even if she would have one item completed, Trinity Corki is just stronger than Caitlyn with one item. So what I do right here is I just run her down. She can't really do anything. I identify my power spike. I know I have it. I know I'm strong, so I use it. Remember, the power spike can be you have level advantage, or it can be you have an item advantage, or you can be, hey, I'm level 3 Samira, I'm very strong, or I'm level 3 Nila, I'm very strong and I can look to all in. The next one is the classic level advantage. So what we do right here is, as you can see on the screen, I'm playing Blitzcrank with Tristana against Luluzeri. They get the push because they have a range support, so this is all normal. I do go for a little bit of a hook, I just chunk her, and after I have the wave into the tower right now, I'm looking for the next hook. I'm level 2 advantage, I have power spike, and I'm Blitzcrank. Even though I'm not level 2 and they are level 1, I'm still having the power spike because I'm Blitzcrank at level 2. And I just utilize it and I just play around it, also with the Tristana level 2 power spike. The trading can also occur based on the positioning of supports. If two players are really far away from each other, like I'm going to show you right now, you can obviously just focus one guy. So if support is going on the river and he's by himself, you can just engage. But also if the support is a bit more far away and you can engage on the AD carry, that's also a pretty good thing to do. So right here, I do play Braum into the Lux, and they go for a little bit of a fight. They don't respect Braum level 1. And what I do here is something very interesting. I just focus the Lux. Why do I go on the Lux here? Well, it's simple. It's because I see she's actually very split up. I see that they can't really do anything right here, and I just go on her really easy. They can't really do very much. So why did I do that? I did that just because I saw the positioning of Alistar, I saw he split up, I saw Lux walking up really close to me, and I was like, hey, why would we focus Alistar when Ezreal is closer to the Lux and Lux is really out of position, plus the range of the W of Alistar is this range, and we're hardcore winning the early game fight. So that's why I trade here, because the positioning of the players and because of the fact that they misstep. The wave state is another thing that you need to take into consideration when looking to trade. Pay attention to your screen. I'm very strong right here and I can easily all in the Bard, but they have a lot of minions, and I know that if I double into the Bard and there is a chance that I die here, I will lose the whole wave. So I will avoid to fight in this big ass wave, and I will make sure I consider the wave when it comes to looking for a trade. Obviously, if I think I can win the trade regardless to if the minions are hitting me or not, then I'll do it. But typically early on until level 4, level 5, the minions minions will do a lot of damage to you if you're looking to go for a trade into a lot of minions. Pay attention to the following example. I'm playing Ashe with little tempo against Kaisa, and I also have a Braum. They have Alistar and we should win this really hard. But pay attention to the crucial mistakes that I do. Right here I try to space a little bit on the Kaisa as she can't really do anything. But after this I was like, okay, we have little tempo, we're going to win super hard, we have Braum, but I was like, wait, I'm just tanking all the minions and I'm not even stepping into the brush to make sure I drop the aggro of the minions. Please don't do this, and when you're trading, make sure you consider the wave state and the minions attacking you as well. As I said, summon and spell advantage can also matter when it comes to you trying to fight or not, especially when you play a Tristana or you play an Ashe and you can punish someone that has no flash. It's really good. This Ashe, she has no flash and I'm actually timing it up. I know that she used the flash 2 minutes ago, which means at the moment she still is flashless. So what I do, I just go with the ulti, I just drop in and call my jungle and we kill her. As an AD carry, you can also influence this as long as you play a champion that can have a dash, like a Lucian, like a Tristana, like an Ashe. If someone has no flash, especially an immobile character has no flash, you should always be looking to try to punish and try to kill the guy as many times as possible before the flash comes up. Let's talk about positioning. Positioning is always about playing around threat range. Before diving into types and techniques, understand this. Your job as an AD carry is to deal damage without dying, and that means identifying 1, who can kill you, 2, how they can kill you, which ability exactly, and 3, what is the range of that threat. For example, a Malphite. His ultimate is a threat. You have to position it outside of his R range and play around it. Or enemy Orianna, you have to respect the ball and the R combo, the QR combo. That is the threat. You gotta respect the range. You gotta watch the ball and respect the fact that she can just ult you in a second. This mindset applies to laning and teamfights. You must constantly adjust your positioning based on cooldowns, vision and intent. Trading versus disengaging. Staying at max range is the default. Stepping in is calculated. AD carries like Caitlyn, Jinx or Ashe win trades from distance. Stepping forward is only worth when you know enemies on cooldown, you have backup so you have support or jungle, or you're hitting the objectives, you're zoning off the enemies, or you're simply having more range than the enemies. You need to ask this. This is the most important thing on AD carry position. Always ask the following questions. 1. Am I allowed to walk up here? And 2. What tools do they have to punish me? Like in this example right here, I do have a Pyke and I'm playing against Varus Rakan. Varus needs to respect Pyke hook, which is around 10 seconds. He needs to respect the range. And Varus Rakan, well, I need to respect Rakan. Now, we don't really have the hook, so I have to be pretty respectful. I have to be a little bit safer. But once it's ready, in around 2 to 3 seconds right now, I can walk up and I can look to trade. I try to get push, but now I try to play with Pyke. Again, he has no cooldown, so I back off immediately after that. So that's how you play. You play around cooldown and you play around support, but it's really important to understand the threat range. The moment I saw Rakan use the Q here, I knew, hey, if Rakan has Q at level 1, there is not really much threat. Yes, my Pyke doesn't have hook here because he missed it, but at the same time, the Rakan just used this Q, so I can easily, the Rakan missed the Q here, so I can easily punish aggressively. This is how you position around the threat of the enemy and around your support as well. Positioning has to also be relative to the support, the enemy support, but also the allied one. There is something called diagonal positioning that I'm gonna talk in a little bit. You gotta make sure you stand diagonally from the enemy support because this is how you avoid the best getting caught by his spells. Also, don't stay too close to your support because then you will both get hit by the same skill shot. At the same time, staying too far will mean if you land something, you are not able to follow. The most important thing on bot lane is really to understand the threat, as I said before. So let's say you play something like Tristana on the bot lane, and let's say you have a Lux. So you do have a little bit of poke with a little bit of all-in, but let's say they do have a Nautilus, and at the same time, they have a Draven. So when you play, you gotta make sure you know that if the Nautilus hits you with the hook, then it's pretty much GG, PG. So you gotta make sure, 1, you use the wave as a shield, so the hook is not going to be able to be used on you. But really important is do not stay at the same side with Nautilus because this way they can just jump on you. So stay diagonal. If he stays on the right here in the brush, let Lux stay into the brush because she can poke from far away. She can stay safe. if you are going to be there and you're going to get caught, it's GG, you're pretty much dead. If he is good and he just tries to position it on the right or on the left in this instance, then you can just calibrate to go into the brush again, and if he goes in the brush again, you have to go on the left again. So you gotta make sure you adapt to the enemy support. But at the same time, there are many situations where you have a pike, and I see it a lot in low elo, but people stay too far from them. They stay like there, they stay like there. So if the pike is in the brush, let's say, and they are pushed in like this, and you stay far away, if he's actually going to try to hook someone, let's say he tries to hook Draven, you're too far away. So yes, the most important thing is don't get hit by the enemy Nautilus, so stay back. But at the same time, you got to make sure you stay close enough to your support, so in case he hooks, you're going to be able to follow. If you stay close enough to your support, if you stay too close to your support, that will also mean, let's say, the enemy Alistar, when he combos you both. So yeah, stay pretty close to your support, but not really like connected to each other, not really too close. What is too close will really depend on the enemy composition and the enemy team and the enemy support matchup. So let's take another example. If you're playing Jhin and Rakan, Rakan wants to W engage. If you're too far, he lands W and dies alone. If you're too close, then you can actually die together. So you gotta be close so you can follow up his with auto attacks, and you want to follow up his W, but you don't want to be a bodyguard. You are a link, you are not a bodyguard. Too far means you're useless, too close means you risk dying. You gotta balance it. You gotta respect the threat while staying linked. If the enemy support, let's say Nautilus, is fishing his hooks, then if the enemy support is fishing for hooks, you gotta position it behind the wave or sideways, but don't lose sync with your own support. That is very important. There is also the parallel positioning, which is really good if you play against melees. So if you play Caitlyn Lux with a lot of range, of course, versus a melee like Alistar with Yasuo, then you can actually stand parallel to the enemy AD carry or support, not behind the wave, but you gotta make sure you stay really far away in the lane phase. And when you're ahead and you're playing this long range poke matchups, you can use these tricks. Pay attention to the screen right now. So this is a Tristana Alistar against a Senna Kai'Sa. If we actually, let's say we take down the Kai'Sa and we put Caitlyn here instead of Kai'Sa, then the concept is the same. They will get completely zoned. Pay attention to this right now. So it's a Senna against Alistar and it's Tristana. They don't really let the enemies walk up. They try to stay parallel. What do I mean by parallel? Well, ideally, Kai'Sa and Senna, they are parallel. They are really not close to each other, but they are on the same line and they're just zoning. As you guys can see, they can't really do much because they basically lack a lot of range. This is just early game matchup in Challenger Elo. They probably lost in draft, but that's another story. So right here, that's how you do it in this poke matchup. What you can do, and I see a lot of Challenger players when I play against Challenger players or with Challenger players in solo queue, they also do this trick when, if they have a lot of range, they do this trick where they stay on different angles. So say they have like a Caitlyn Lux. Pay attention to your screen right now. So let's say Caitlyn right here, and we've got the Lux here. So in that situation, they actually want to be in the lane before the wave gets here. So what they do is Caitlyn stays into the brush, but Lux stays here. So if they come like this, good players will always hug left. But if you hug left like this, you're still going to get killed by Caitlyn and still going to get Lux. And if you go like down like this, you're still going to get caught by Caitlyn. So it's basically really good. If you stay like this and the guy covers like this, he might not get hit by the things. But if he hugs left and Lux is already there, so she can slow him first and then Caitlyn goes on him, it's really hard since Caitlyn has so much range on this pocket and Lux has so much range in this pocket. It's not really much counterplay. So usually when you play with LEC players, they always do this. So this is the range of the Lux and this is the range of the Caitlyn. So Lux was in the brush and Caitlyn was on the left. Of course, this is a Korean challenger, so Lucian actually respected the brush lane here, but he couldn't do much because Caitlyn was there. So you get poked by Caitlyn, but you also get poked by Lux. If you play duo and you have a lot of range, then obviously this is a good thing that you can do. It's not always going to be applicable because of course you need the coordination, but it's a very good trick to do. Another important thing to do is that you need to make sure you use the wave as a natural shield. You gotta stand behind or to the side of the wave to block hooks, bubbles, or projectiles. You gotta make sure you don't stay on the caster minions if the enemy has AoE like Ziggs, Lux, Brand, etc. The next positioning is the hovering position. Hovering means You gotta stay near the edge of engagement range, threatening walk-ups or baits without committing. You need to use hovering when the support is looking for an engage, or when the support already engaged and you're not able to follow because you think the threat is too big for it to die. So you gotta make sure the enemy cooldowns uh, are down before you can actually walk up and apply the pressure. It's about presence. You're not clicking on them yet, but you're about to. So I'm playing Corki right here in Master Elo. So Pike goes in, but I'm not really like looking to follow because I see this circle. Like, let's play this first and then you can see it after. So it's all about understanding the threat range and all about understanding whether you can follow or not. Okay, did you guys see that? I was very patient to actually follow. I didn't really follow immediately because I know the Varus has range and the Varus just ulted, so pay attention to this. So Pike went in, and after Pike went in, the Varus beautifully used the ultimate on that guy, but I'm not following here because I see that the circle of the Varus ulti right here, and I'm like, hey, if I step up into this, then I'm gonna get hit by the ulti, so I'm gonna hover, stay around, stay around, stay around, and now, since the W of Rakan is used and the Varus ulti is used, then I can just walk up and I can just go in. This is how you use hovering. You can use it in the lane as well. Just stay close enough to your support, and when the threat is down, then that's when you actually go in. The next positioning style is the brush style control. You gotta make sure you use your brush in the lanes where you have a lot of range. It's really easy for you to sit into the brush and have a lot of pressure. The point is that to understand if you're actually attacking when you are in the brush, the enemy get vision you, okay? So if you're either last hitting the minion or attacking them with an auto attack from the brush, the enemy sees you. If it's just an ability, then they don't. So right here you can see Ruler playing against a Caitlyn Melio lane. Really difficult lane. So what we're gonna see is very simple. They use the brush very good. So first the Caitlyn uses the Q. We see that we don't see the Caitlyn. Then before she steps up, before she actually auto attacks the Nami, as you can see here, she's actually stepping out of the brush. Pay attention to this Q. Step out of the brush, step into the brush, and now they purely all in because they have the W of Melio and Lethal Tempo Caitlyn, so they can easily win this. But after this, they will just stay into the brush, and every time when they hit a minion, or every time when they last hit, or every time when they hit these people, they will be outside of the brush, of course, other than the Q, which should be used when you're in the brush. So Q from the brush, Caitlyn wants to last hit, or hit the Nami, out of the brush, step out of the brush, step out of the brush, hit the minion, go into the brush. Because if you hit the minion or if you attack the enemies with an auto attack when you are in the brush, you give them vision. So this is how Caitlyn plays, and it's quite unplayable. As you guys can see here, there is just so much pressure that they really get here. And this is Ruler, one of the best AD carry in the world. He can't really do much because the matchup is just very difficult, as we can see right here. So yeah, just pay attention to your screen. They just use brush really good. They didn't attack when they were in the brush. They didn't last it when they were in the brush. And they use the brush control really well. Of course, if you get super, it's also even better. But yeah, that's basically the control of the laney phase. And that's how you can do it really easy. Brush control, positioning. Let's talk about recall timing. It's pretty simple on paper. You recall when you're low on mana or HP and the risk of dying is high. You have a lot of gold and can buy a strong component like a BF sword or Zerated Dirk. But if you want to consistently get good recalls, there are a few key variables you need to consider. Your resources. Are you low on HP or mana? Your gold. Do you have enough for a big power spike component? The wave state. Can you push and crush or should you hold the wave? The risk of dying. Is it safe to stay or are you greedy? Like in this example, Kaisa is pretty low. If she stays right now, she's just going to get dove. So what is she going to do? She's just going to recall. There is no way she can stay here, right? She's just way too low. But wait. Let's say you and your support are both 350 HP, but the enemy AD carry and support are at 100 HP. They need to recall more than you do. If you can pressure with enemies, then sometimes even if you're low, but they are lower than you, you can always consider to stay and punish them. As long as the threat of dying is not high, and well, if the enemy's 2v2s are lower than you, then the threat only comes mainly from the enemy jungle. I get hooked, Diamond 1, good elo, I'm low, so someone would be like, oh, okay, you have pickaxe in base, you're gonna recall after pushing this way. But what I do here after the Karthus leaves is very simple. I stay. Why am I staying here? Well, even though I'm pretty low and I have a decent recall, here with 1000 gold, I see they are actually lower than me. I have 270 HP, but the Zeri has 180. And my Zillion HP and the Nautilus HP is
pretty significantly more for the Zillion, right? And also the Nautilus doesn't have mana here. So pay attention to my champion right now. Yes, I'm low, but I can easily pressure them. I can easily do something. And yeah, in this case, it also helped me that the Belveth is close proximity. But sometimes if he's on top lane, I prefer to recall because I'm on weak side. But now that's what I do. I just stay here and we see that we just get a kill and the Zeri is slowly but surely going to lose these minions because she just needs to recall. And if she doesn't recall, then she will get off. She loses the whole wave. So yes, if you're low, you usually need to recall, but that's not always the case if you can pressure with the HP that you have. If you have low HP, but the enemies are even lower and you can pressure and there is no threat of dying, then yeah, you can definitely stay. But if you're the one low and they still have sustain or threat, it's time to reset. Sometimes, even if you're low HP, you can consider staying in the lane phase, like in this specific situation that you can see right now. So Zeri is going to get chunked, and what is she actually going to do? Well, she has 290 gold, 300 gold, so really, really bad. So now if she recalls, she doesn't really get much. So I tell her, hey, here, you need to stay, get some XP, just go for a bit of trade. Hopefully Morgana is going to hit some bindings and just play safe. So now we are low, we are just waiting. What are we waiting for? Well, ideally a jungle gank that can potentially help you to push the wave. But if we don't get a jungle gank, then we need two things. If you want to recall in a case like this when you're low, you need to recall when the next wave is a cannon wave. Recalling on a cannon is important, but is important mainly when you are low HP. In general, recalling on a cannon is not as important, and we'll see why soon. But the bottom line here is that if you recall on a cannon, they won't be able to push it in time, and even if they will be able to push it in time, the cannon tanks like 8 tower shots. So here, I told the guy, hey bro, just take the minions, and we will try to recall on a cannon. If they don't let you, and the threat of dying is too high, then we will recall right away. In this case, he stayed, and stayed, and stayed, and stayed, and here I told him, hey, let's just recall immediately. This is not a cannon, and if they actually start pushing right away, you can stay here, because again, you're gonna lose the whole wave. If it was a cannon, you recall regardless to if they want to push or not, because it's a cannon, so they can't push it in time. So the camera has to be, now his camera is bad, now his camera is good. We need to see if Swain is very committed to pushing, because if he's very committed to pushing, if he tanks that wave, pushes right away, you might need to stay. You might need to stay for one more, because the next one right here is a cannon, so then you want to recall on that one. So yes, recall on a cannon wave is smart if you're behind like this, but there are very many cases where if you recall on a non-cannon wave, that's good. So when is that? Well, that is simply when the enemies are not committed to the push, and obviously you need to think about, you know, how fast they can push based on their champ and their items, and if they are committed or not. So in this case, Swain, for example, is sitting in the brush, doing nothing, so he's not very committed to pushing the wave. And also Swain at level 3, he doesn't actually push it that much. The next example is the following. So when you recall, obviously crushing the wave into the tower is ideal. Pay attention to this example. Right now, let's say I have gold, I'm crushing this wave really, really fast, and let's say I have the gold. It's really simple to say, hey, I can recall, because, well, I have a good wave into the tower, and this guy won't be able to push it in time, right? Obviously, I can recall, and after I buy something in base, I go really fast. There is absolutely no way this guy is going to push this wave into my tower, right? Pay attention to this example. So right now, I'm taking the wave, and now I recall immediately. Pay attention to where the next wave is. It is a cannon, but that doesn't actually matter that much, because pay attention to what I do. I recall, and remember that when I recalled, my next wave was really far, was like right there. So now, even if Smolder pushes this wave, I'm pretty fast back in the lane. So if he actually would have stayed and pushed, then he still doesn't actually get it in time, or if he does get it in time, I will lose like 2 minions. So yes, you need to consider, okay, I'm gonna crash the wave before recalling. If I'm winning, I want to fix my wave state before I recall. If I'm losing, I typically want to recall on a cannon wave, but that's not a must. Again, that is not a must. You can also recall on a non-cannon wave as long as you're not really going to lose too much. So what you can do as well is that you can recall based on the distance between you and the next wave. So for example, right now, the next wave is really far away. Even if I didn't crash this wave, like let's say I don't have this wave and I recall right now, let's try to think what's going to happen. Because I recall immediately when this wave is really far away and I went in base, now I'm going to be very fast in the laning phase. Pay attention to this. So if Smolder didn't have to take this wave from the tower, he would push right now. So in about 5 to 6 seconds, like he will already have crushed the wave. So like basically now, if he didn't have to take that wave, the wave would be crushed in the tower. So I lose like maybe 2 minions, and I think on the third I actually get the XP of the third. A good recall is typically a recall where you lose up to maximum 3 minions. So yes, recalling on a cannon is good, but there are many cases where you can also recall immediately if the next wave is really far away and doesn't have the time to actually arrive in the laning phase, so the enemy AD carry can just push it and punish you. If that's the case, then you can recall. So yes, recall on a cannon wave is good, but most of the cases, if you recall on when the next wave is really far, then that's also pretty good idea to do, as in they can't really push it.
Alright guys, so now we're going to talk about slow push versus fast push. And honestly, it's really simple. So you can just pay attention here and it will click. You slow push by default. That's your baseline. You should only fast push if you have a very good reason to. Let me tell you when those situations are. You fast push only if there is a fight starting on the river and you actually need to move. You're really low HP or mana and you want to crush and recall as soon as possible. Maybe your jungle is invading and you want to follow, or simply you want to push so the enemy bot lane can't follow and kill your jungle since it's in an enemy jungle. Or the enemy is 1 HP under the tower, you can dive or pressure a plate with 1 wave crush, then go for fast push. If none of these are happening, then you should slow push. Simple as that. Why do you slow push? When you slow push, you build up a big wave and play it slow, and that gives you more options. Here is why it's good. More time to roam or ward. When a big wave is crashing into the enemy tower, you have a longer window before the enemy can clear it. That means you can go and place a ward very deeply, or even look for a roam to mid lane or the river. Dive is also easier. If you want to dive, a big wave makes it much easier than just 1 wave. The tower is busy dealing with the minions and the enemy has to choose between catching the wave or dodging your dive. You can also choose it for the recall. If you want to reset, you can also do it with a big wave into the tower. A big wave gives you more time. The enemy AD carry has to clear all your minions, then push out their own wave before they can recall. That delay often gives you the tempo and first move on the next play. So the bigger your wave is, the more time you buy for yourself to do something useful. You can ward, you can roam, you can dive, or you can recall. That's why slow push should be your default, unless you have a clear reason to fast push. Remember that the 3-wave slow push in this meta is not possible anymore because of the new season changes a few months ago. So your default is 2-wave crush. Pay attention to this example. I have decent mana and decent HP, but Ziggs is actually healthier than me. He has no mana, but he has teleport. So in this case, I know that I could look for a recall, judging of my HP and judging that we don't really have much vision on the river. So what I do, I'm thinking, hey, do I want to stay, slow push, and just try to, play it slow? Not really, because I know that we can't kill them, judging of my mana and HP right here. So do I slow push? Do I play? So no, I just fast push. Why do I fast push? Well, I know that if I stay here and he will TP, I'm gonna get bullied. He will be full HP, full mana. So what do? Well, if I need to recall, then I go for fast push. So I fast push and then I just reset immediately. Why did I stay for that extra wave right there? And I could have just recall after this first initial wave. The reason why I did not recall here is because obviously, as we talked before, the gold is really important. I don't have a pickaxe here, so I don't recall. I push this so I can have pickaxe and then I reset. This is the second example. Remember, you fast push if you need to do something, as in pressure the tower, go on the river, or move away of bot lane. So in this specific case, I am playing Caitlyn. We kill them on bot lane, and after I kill this Ziggs right here, or well, almost killed him, then I'm thinking, okay, what should I do right now? Well, since we actually get a very lucky kill on the Senna, now what do I want to do? Well, since Senna is dead and I want to pressure the tower, Ziggs is low, I know Viego is also low, I fast push. Why do I fast push and not play slow? It's because I want to pressure, I want to push my advantage, I want to kill this guy into the tower, I want to take plates, I want to do something with my lead. That's why I push here and I just crush and try to pressure. The last example is about the river control and river urgency. Pay attention to this one, it's very simple. So I just play it pretty slow right here. I'm not really intending necessarily to push, I just wanted to keep the wave here, as in if I keep the wave here I can easily poke Ziggs, I can basically stay close to my tower, I'm safe, and I thought that my jungle is actually pathing towards top lane since it's 30 seconds for the grubs, so it's simple, I slow push, but the moment I see he's actually pinging the Drake, I start pushing. Why do I do it? Well, it's because I know that I don't want Ziggs to actually be able to move on the river. I see Briar either wants to go for invade or just go for Drake, and this is why I push.
Very simple. You push if you need to be on the river because there is a fight, if you need to be on the river because there is Drake started, or if you need to recall or pressure them into the tower. Fast push always if you want to play it fast, if you want to pressure, if you want to do something with your lead. The next example is for the slow push. Pay attention to this one right here. So I'm playing Caitlyn and I fast push, and after I fast push, I just go for a little bit of ward. We crushed, we want to make sure we're safe. And then here I'm like, hey, should I fast push or should I slow push? Can I kill them under the tower by pushing fast? Well, since we saw the Jhin is actually quite low, I could do the fast push. But in this specific situation, I had the good information that the enemy jungler started on the bot side, so he's most likely on top side soon. So I was like, hey, this is a cannon wave, and I can't kill Jhin this easy, because if I get W by Tahm Kench, I'm gonna die. So what do? I play it slow. I wait Lux to poke. We have a lot more range with Lux, and as we can see on the screen, it's very easy to slow push and to bully them slowly. Why do I do it and not just fast push? It's because I'm not confident enough that I can dive reliably, so I just wait for a mistake, and the mistake came. They can't walk up to the wave, so this is why I slow push. I slow push simply because I couldn't kill him under the tower. I wanted to play it slow. I wanted to let Lux poke. And now, as we can see, I know they're very low into the tower, so I fast push. Why do I fast push? It's because in this specific situation, I know that they are so low that we can kill them under the tower. And as we can see on the screen right now, it's easy kills here. So those are the fundamentals, right? Same thing in this example. For the laning phase, Ashe, Renata against Janna. Right here, pay attention to me. I get push, and after I get push, I'm thinking, hey, should I fast push? Should I keep pushing? Should I keep doing something and trying to get level 2 advantage? And I'm like, no, because they're pretty chunked. We traded quite well. So what do I do here? I slow push. How do I do it? I just last it. I woke up, I use my range, and the reason why I do it is because Ashe in this case has more range than Caitlyn. I have my W, and Janna is already chunked, so Renata can also pressure. So what I'm doing here, as you guys can see, I'm just last hitting, I'm just pressuring. There is no need to be on the river. I don't need to recall. I can't pressure them under the tower, so I'm gonna make a big wave. And what do I do with it? Well, again, I can ward. We can potentially dive, but my jungle position is, well, pathing into top lane, so dive is not an option. So I can go for a really good reset, or I can ward, or I can just try to bully them under the tower if I know where is the enemy jungle. So this is why I do it. In this case, again, I fast push here, just because I see Janna very, very low, so I know that she just takes W and she's dead. I want to make sure I know where is the jungle, so I use my E towards the enemy Gromp. I spot the enemy jungle on the map right here, boom. And this is why I'm going to stay, and I'm going to try to punish as much as possible. I will not slow push anymore because I see Janna is very low. So in this case, I want to pressure them under the tower. So here it was a combination between slow push and fast push. We see that they can't really play the game just because the fundamentals were very clean. I slow push if I can zone them, and if I can't dive them, I also think about the jungle, but mostly I fast push when I know we can pressure them into the tower. And now the Caitlyn is actually really behind. She has 15 farm against Ashe. I have 30 farm, so it was very difficult for them to play. Right here is the next example. We see Kalist, Challenger 1000 LP AOS. He is one of the best AD carry in LEC. We see Vi is doing Drake, but since he knows that the Xin Zhao is top lane right now, there is no need for him to do the basic play, which would be push and follow for the Drake. We also have priority mid lane right here, as we can see it from the minimap, so there is no reason for him to push. So what he does here is just a slow push. He just last hits and he just zones them away. Why does he do it? Is because he doesn't need to be on the river. It's because Orianna can't really be on the river since she was extremely low, and he knows these things. He knows about prior mid lane. He knows the Vi has enough damage to kill the Drake, and he knows that Rel and Ezreal can't really move because, well, they are just getting zoned away, as we can see right here. So the slow push can be used in many cases. You can be creative. Typically, you can just be like, hey, do I need to be on the river? Okay, let me push. Is my Vi into the enemy jungle? Okay, let's push. You see this? This is what I like about challenger players. They're like robotic decision making. He immediately started to push when he saw that the Vi is invading. And in this case, it's not about the invading the camps, which can be good. It's because of the dive, which, yeah, they do it, and now Ezreal is going to lose a lot. So yeah, you can be creative at the same time, right? And you can try to use slow push when Vi is doing Drake. You can try to, you know, you don't follow the Drake, so you don't go for the basic rule, push and go to Drake if you don't need to be there. But this is the concept. Typically, pay attention to this challenger game. The moment the wave comes, you just immediately push. Why do you do it? Well, because you want to get prio. Why do you get prio? It's because, as we can see on the minimap, these people are trying to do something. Most likely the enemy team is around here, so you really want to push this and try to do something. Get vision, fight, You see this? MF could have moved because in this case, she actually got the push and Ezreal is still busy here. So we can approach this river, we can approach the vision because we got the push. Of course, not always you play to push the lane. Sometimes you just play to receive the wave to push into you. But please don't freeze and don't slow push in the mid game, as in solo queue, it's not a good thing. You're gonna slow push here. The enemy AD carry is going to fast push, he's going to push in the tower, then he's going to move and kill your jungle. So especially if you do it on the sideline, it is completely horrible. So the rule that I use is the moment your tower goes down, like let's say enemy AD carry is taking tower and he goes mid, don't stay here and just slow push, play it slow, because the enemy AD carry is just going to kill your whole teammates. All we have to do is push the enemy tower as well, so you can force the enemy AD carry coming back to bot lane. So no slow push and freezing in the later stages. Once your tower is gone in mid game, avoid this. Yes, if you're LEC level challenger player and you understand the concepts, there are situations where you can play it. You can slow push and you can freeze in the mid game. So for example, in this case, if Vayne is trying to actually just stay bot lane, slow push and play it slow, it is actually very good. And the main reason is because she has a lot of wave clear mid lane. She has Anivia on mid lane. So if they try to walk up Anivia and Vel'Koz, it's going to be very easy for these people to just, you know, push them off. And second of all, they don't have much engage. They have Shyvana engage, Soraka engage, Akshan engage, or Aatrox engage. In this specific case, if you have super good wave clear mid, if they can't really approach these brushes because we have so much poke, and if the enemy team don't have engage, then yes, there can be reason for you to slow push here, or like freeze under the tower, or, you know, play slow. But most of the cases, it's just better to push so you can force your enemy to be bot lane. Then you can be the one that is forcing a play. Don't play around your teammates much in the solo queue. You should try to always be first on play and always play fast, and not trying to wait for, oh, I'm gonna slow push freeze here and play it slow, hopefully my team won't die kind of thing. It doesn't work like that.
How do you know if you should be grouping or joining a fight? And more importantly, what about the mid game? When do you group on mid lane? What are you supposed to do if your mid laner is not rotating? But when are you supposed to stay on side lane? And yeah, all of these things, we will talk about them very soon. First, we will talk about when to join a fight. And in the first example, we have this beautiful Caitlyn game. So in this case, we see that the Caitlyn is playing with a Karma. Karma is on the laney phase, and then right here, she is just hitting the minions. My question to you right now is, we saw the Morgana a second ago into the jungle. What is Caitlyn doing? Of course, for this question to be answered, she needs to look at the wave. So if we have a wave right here, that means we're not going to crash with this wave. So this is the current wave right now. So this wave is not in a fine wave state, and we shouldn't typically move before we crash. Typically you push the wave and crash and then you move. But the only problem right here is that Morgana is unbelievably close to them. Pay attention to this. So this is what challenger players call, it is one screen away from the fight. So this is his camera, and if we actually try to think about 2 screens away like this one, the Morgana is right there. She's incredibly close to the Morgana. So here, this was actually a coaching session. I told him, hey, fuck the wave, just move right away, because Morgana is so close to you that it's really likely that if the Karma is gonna hit the root on her, she will just die. So this decision was made by the distance, and the distance between you and the fight is one of the most important things that you need to consider before you think, hey, should I push first or should I move right away? What is the distance between you and Morgana? So in this case, it was very small, as we can see, pretty close right here. If the fight was at the Wolves, or if the fight was more than 2 screens away, 1 screen away, 2 screens away, if the fight was here, 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 anywhere outside of the two screens away right here, if the fight was even right here on the Drake, around the Drake, then the play is push first and then move, just because it's pretty far and the time that you need to get there to make it in time is a little bit longer. So you would not greed it, you would not risk it, push the wave and move. But since the fight is pretty close, you move it right away without pushing the wave. This is what challenger players do, and this is what they think about. So the next example right here is with Caitlyn. Pay attention to my Shaco. So in this case, we see Viego, and we know that the enemy bot lane is very close. So pay attention to what I do right now. So I try to ulti, I try to hover a little bit the play, but I'm very, very, very committed to the push. We see that the Zed is phase checking, but I'm not even following. The reason why I'm not following is because of the number advantage. So Shaco being this really low, they have 3 people right here. It's not a 3v3,
because the Shaco is low, so it's basically 2v3, and I'm just pushing the wave. I'm ignoring the fight. I'm not even looking to fight. I'm not even looking to go there. I'm completely ignoring the fight because I know we have a low Shaco, so this is a huge number advantage and HP advantage. The number advantage and an HP advantage can very easy. If you look at the number advantage, if you are having a disadvantage like a 2v4 or a 3v5, then typically you should consider to ignore, abandon, and not fight. Now pay attention to the next example right here. So I play Caitlyn and I want you to pay attention to my gold. I have 980 gold, 1000 gold, and I take the tower and I recall. This is a very simple play. The thing is, when I recall right here, there is a spam ping to the Drake. I do have a full push and I saw that the enemy jungle started the Drake. So judging of this thing and judging that I know that Jhin and enemy support is on the bot lane and they are not able to follow since we actually pushed the wave all in, I am following this. What am I considering here? Well, I'm considering that Katarina is moving already. I'm considering that we have Prio on bot lane and I know for sure we will have number advantage. And I know that just because of the push bot lane and just because I see the Zed is very committed to following, and I also see that Katarina canceled the recall. Typically, I don't like to cancel my recall when my Zed is pinging for Drake, as in I like to just get BF sword in base, to play it simple, to not overextend, and if the chances of me dying right there is very high, then I avoid going for the fight. So in this case, I took all of these things into consideration, and what happened is very simple. After I canceled my recall, I moved, I got a few kills here. Well, I just like help with the Drake. What's the most important thing right here is that I help with the Drake and it was easy peasy. And after I take the Drake, pay attention to right here what I do. So I'm looking at bot wave and I'm like, hey, I have a huge amount of gold. I don't need to push bot wave because it's still in the middle. So right now I am going to recall. And we see that they still want to fight. We see that Shaco is going. I try to ulti Zerat and I see Rumble right here. The moment I see Rumble right here, I'm thinking, hey, if Rumble is right here, that means we have number disadvantage because Rumble is a top laner. Yes, Fiaco died, but judging that we don't have people here since Shaco is low and Zed is pretty low, I'm also thinking about the ultimates that we don't have right now. I actually am ignoring this fight. Yes, I actually canceled my recall to follow for this Drake, which was a good decision making, and we will see right here why. Because of the prior bot lane, because we have number advantage. But after we killed him and we used a lot of things on Viego, after I saw that the enemy top laner came to the fight right here, and I knew that this is a number disadvantage due to the fact that they have a lot more HP, the enemy team, I was choosing to just recall, completely ignore the fight, and I didn't even have any intention to join the fight because I knew exactly, hey, I'm thinking about the number advantage, I'm thinking about the HP advantage, I'm thinking also about the distance, but the distance was actually telling me to move because it was pretty close, but just the number advantage and disadvantage was very very strictly telling me do not fight there, do not follow. Now we will add the urgency rule. Pay attention to your screen. We're fighting on the bot lane and I end up getting a kill, but then I die. So in this specific situation, if we speed up, Leona is trying to freeze, I try to get as fast as possible to the laning phase, and what's going to end up happening is that the Leona is going to die. So now I do have 467 gold. We're trying to dive the Xayah, we are very successful. Now, Leona is almost get back to the laning phase as we are tracking her death timer as well, and she should be passing the second tower at the moment. Where is Xayah? Judging of her timer, so 6010 she respawned, I went for a plate, and now it's already 12 seconds since she respawned. It takes 25 seconds to get to the lane, so she's basically halfway. So in this case, pay attention to what I do right now. I'm thinking, hey, my jungle is pinging Drake, but I know that MF is pretty close, she's in the second tower, and I know that the jungle didn't start the Drake yet. So what do I choose to do right here? Since he didn't start it, I recall and I ignore, I abandon, and he actually doesn't do Drake. If the moment I push the wave right here, he started the Drake, then I would either go for the plate and help with the Drake or just go with the Drake immediately. And this is called the rule of urgency. Is it urgent? Because now it's not urgent. He's pinging the Drake. I'm pressing B, but he's still like pretty far off the Drake. He's about to start it, but judging of the Xayah and Leona positioning, judging that I didn't recall, this is not a good tempo play. So here we put the tempo rule, which says, hey, if you wanna recall and the enemy got back to the lane, if you're starting Drake, they can fight you because they recall and he didn't. And second of all, the urgency rule says, hey, if he's already on the Drake, if he started it a while ago and he needs your help, then you are more inclined to to follow rather than if he's gonna start in the next 10 seconds, which of course in the next 10 seconds that also gives more time for the enemy to come. So very simple. Did he start the Drake already? No. Okay, then I'm not so inclined to help him if he's like at the wolf's pinging that he wants to do Drake, but I know that I need to respect my tempo. Here you have one more example just to be sure that you understood the concept of when to move. So I see MF going top lane and playing for grabs. So the moment I see that, I'm like, hey, I'm going to get the tower. I start pushing and then I see immediately the Vex is actually coming towards us, as we can see right here. So I could get a free kill, but the distance between me and him is just way too far. And I also see MF right here and I'm thinking, hey, I just have a free play right here. The distance between me and the play is massive, so it's just an easy peasy. Let me just get the free plate and then let's just cut them off. So this play, again, we thought about the distance. Sometimes you need to think about the number advantage or the HP advantage. Other times you need to think about the distance. This is very important for you to also move your camera to the fight, because if you're not moving your camera to the fight to see what is going on, it's very difficult to make the decision. Sometimes the minimap is not enough. Most of the cases actually the minimap is not enough, and you need to be sure that you're moving your camera to take this information, to think about these variables. So the most important thing are distance, number advantage and HP advantage, but things like the wave state current, the current wave state, or the urgency of the play that you need to be there can also help you to make the decision. And don't forget about tempo. Sometimes if you really need to recall, if you really have to recall and your teammates are not inside of a fight and you have time to recall, then I'll typically tend to ignore the fight. Now let's say that your top laner died right here and you are this AD carry, the red AD carry, right? The fight on the Drake is simply just a 3 versus 4, and then if you join it's gonna be top lane is going to join as well, so it's going to be a 4 versus 5. So typically you shouldn't really fight here, you shouldn't really contest Drake, you should just push mid. But if you're joining and it's going to be a 4 versus 5, if you think there is still a chance to win and your teammates are still going in, because you know in solo queue, even that if there is a lot of like number advantage situation that you guys shouldn't fight for, they will still fight because it's solo queue, and I know you experience that. So what do you do if your team wants to fight? You're pushing mid, your team wants to fight, you know it's a bad fight, should you just follow? Well, in this exact situation, we have a 4 versus 5 if you join there. If you think it's winnable, and obviously that will depend if you pan your camera there, you see your teammates HP and the enemy team HP. If your teammates want to fight that, they show you, they are pinging, they want to contest, we have ultimates, it's okay to fight 4v5, you adapt to the chaos, you play with them. So it's winnable, and if the fight is 4v5, 3v4, it's still winnable as long as your teammates are not very low. But if it's gonna be a 2 versus 4, if you're gonna join a 3 versus 5, a 2 versus 5, if they just have a kamikaze mission to just die there, it's typically better to push mid and trade it with mid. But again, if there is not a massive number advantage when they want to fight, when they want to do something, when they want to do a stupid fight, but the stupid fight is winnable, it's 3v4, it's not like a huge number advantage that you can't overcome by outplaying them, then yes, in cases where it's a 2v5 and if you join it's a 3v5 or it's simply unwinnable, push mid lane. In cases where the fight is winnable, then you can still follow even if there is a slight number advantage in the enemy team. So don't get too fixed on don't get too fixated on these rules, because you can still adapt and you can still obey some of the rules.
When do you group mid lane as AD carry? You group mid after taking the enemy bot tower. It's that simple. Once you've killed the bot lane tower, your goal shifts from laning phase to pressuring the objectives and helping your team fight. You can sometimes go top lane, but going top lane is going to actually put you against a 3-4 levels up Malphite, Fiora, Illaoi, and if your jungle and support if they don't play around you, you're gonna die. So for low elo, if you are below Grandmaster, grouping top lane is not something that I recommend. Why do AD carry go mid lane after bot lane? After taking bot tower, you don't want to stay bot forever. You already taken the gold and pressure from that lane. Your mid laner usually runs teleport, so they can always go back to bot lane, and thanks to TP, they can also join fight mid. Pay attention to this example. I'm taking the bot tower right here, and after I take the bot tower, I obviously push one more wave, and I go immediately recall. After I go recall, obviously I want to go mid lane, so I'm telling to Twisted Fate, hey bro, I want you to go bot, please Twisted Fate, go bot. So let's see what happens right here. We see that we have to pay attention to the bot lane wave the Caitlyn has right there. It's deeply pushed. She can't really follow, she can't really do anything. The problem is, if we can take a look at our minimap, the Twisted Fate doesn't actually group to bot lane. He doesn't want to, the wave is anyways pushed in, so what do we do? So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to ping him as much as possible, 2 times, 3 times, but he doesn't really move. He doesn't really react, he doesn't really do anything, so I'm gonna hover mid lane. Until when? This is the exact moment when I'm thinking to go bot lane. Twisted Fate died 1v1 against Ahri. She has teleport to catch up without wave mid. I can't reliably take mid tower or pressure tower since I don't know where enemies are. So I'm going back to bot lane. Why? It's because the Caitlyn is just pushing the last wave, this wave, and she's gonna go back to the tower. She's gonna go to my tower, and I don't wanna trade my tower bot lane for one wave mid. So I go and collect it. After I'm collecting the bot lane right now, obviously I'm gonna go and try to recall and go back to mid lane, and I'm looking at the Caitlyn. I see that again the same situation occurs. If Twisted Fate doesn't go to bot lane right here, then I need to be the one that is going bot lane. I hope he's gonna go bot lane and catch that wave. He's low, so he's probably gonna go to bot lane anyways. But if he doesn't, which is very likely, I need to go again on the bottom side. And this is what I do. I'm thinking, hey, can I trade mid lane? Can I push the mid lane tower? Not really. Don't know where is Ahri, so let me just go to bot lane. Let me just go get the wave. And after I do the deep push into the second tower, I can go mid lane and I can do something. Then same thing, we end up killing the Ahri. Then I group to mid lane right now. Fortunately, I group on mid lane, and yes, my Twisted Fate is still not going back to bot lane, but I end up trying to kill this Ahri. I take her wave, I'm very strong, I have 2 items at 18 minutes, and I'm like, hey, the Caitlyn will push bot lane, I can always go back to bot lane, but the tower mid lane is pretty low, and the guy just recalled with Ahri. So what if I actually give up the bot lane tower for the mid lane tower? In this specific case, this is what I should be doing. The only reason why you should actually trade mid for bot, the only reason why you should give the Caitlyn the free bot tower is 1, if you can get the mid tower reliably, or 2, if there is a fight close to you that is going to happen, that you know if you attend, you can get minimum 1 to 2 kills. In that case, sure, give the bot tower, just fight with your jungle, fight with your mid lane, and then anyways, just get objectives, get herald, get the mid tower. Unless that's the case, usually you should be the one catching the side lane wave. If your mid lane doesn't want to, what if I group mid lane and my mid lane goes bot? Everything is perfect. My mid lane goes bot lane and I stay mid lane. So what do I do on mid lane? What should I achieve there? Very simple. You fight, you get prio, you get to rotate first to place, you gotta play around your teammates. And the key in the mid game is the jungle. Your jungle dictates the play. Sometimes the play can also be dictated by an engaged support like a Rel or a Lissandra mid lane, but typically you want to play around the jungle. Sometimes after you group on mid lane, you can't play to push necessarily, but you play to receive the wave. If you are strong, you can play to receive the wave, meaning that once you grouped on mid lane, you are letting the enemy AD carry or mid lane push into you and you just receive the wave and you try to really cover your jungle, you try to play around your jungle. Or if you're ahead, then you can be the one that is pushing the wave and then rotating to the river first to the place, like that. Obviously, as you're staying mid lane and you're taking waves, you still need to remember your power spike, you still need to recall for Infinity Edge, you still need to recall for the second item power spike, because this is one of the most important things on AD carry. Sometimes you can even ignore your teammates that are about to start the fight just to recall for that Infinity Edge power spike. You gotta play for hovering your teammates, but at the same time you wanna play for your power spikes. So what do you do if you are not able to get the first tower? Typically, what you should do is that you should play for it. So let's say you lost your tower, you're in the second tower right here, and now the enemy AD carry is going mid lane, then you should keep pushing and try to get the tower. If you group too preemptive, if you group too fast, you are basically, well, you lost the tower, so the enemy AD carry is 1 level up, maybe even 2 levels up. So if you group mid, you're 100% gonna lose the fight. So if you just stay a bit more side laning, maybe just get the Krugs, maybe just get the more solo XP, just get more resources, then you can get the tower, and after you get the tower you can group mid lane. That's the best case scenario. Sometimes you're not able to push too fast, so you're gonna push here, and then there is a Talon, there is a Nocturne, there is someone that can just go and kill you, so you just push that wave and then you can group mid lane, and then you wait the enemy mid lane or AD carry to push you right here into the tower, and then you go and collect the wave, then again you go back to mid lane. So if you can get the tower and if you can play for it, you see the enemy jungle top lane, there is no threat, and you can actually take the tower. It's always preferable to do it before you group, but sometimes, like in the situation that we're gonna see right now, we're not able to really do that. Like, pay attention to this example right here. So we see Varus, he is taking the tower right now, and they are very ahead. We are behind on the bot lane. Rakan Swain. We end up kill Varus right here, and the Swain tries to actually get the tower. Of course, he tries to, but now there is a Zed, so we don't actually know where Zed is. We can't get the tower because Varus is respawned. He should be around. We don't know where is Ahri. Too many things we don't know. So what does the AD carry do? He just goes mid lane. He can't really play bot. Bot lane wave is too pushed anyways. Ideally, Tristana stays bot with TP. But even if Tristana doesn't move bot, it's still the same situation. Let's say Tristana is top right now. You don't go bot unless you can easily get the tower, which as Swain versus Zed, as Swain versus Ahri is very unrealistic because you're just going to die. And you're just going to wait the enemy wave to be basically on your side. Like this is your side on the map. So if it's going to go on your side, if it's going to be here pushing into you, then that's the moment where you can consider going back to bot. But again, ideally, you should always play to get the tower first before a group mid lane. But if you can't, then yeah, just look at Swain, what he does. He just stays mid lane and he just tries to play there. He groups, again, he groups faster than after the tower, but that's not really he can do because there is just too many assassins. Let's watch this sequence from Kalist, how he plays the mid game. So again, as I said, jungle dictates the play. We see that the enemy jungle is dead and our own jungle is doing Drake. So Kalist right now, we don't really know what his action is. So he's going to try to take this plate really fast, and immediately after he's just going to play around the support. Support taking vision here is one play that you can hover and play around. By hover, I mean just stay close to the support in case she gets engaged, so you can follow up, you can poke, or at least you can threaten the enemy team. But at the same time, the jungle is doing Drake, so Kalist is going to hover and is going to play around the jungle. He got the push, and now he is playing for the jungle. If the jungle was doing Drake, he would do the same thing. He would hover Nami as she's getting vision. What does he do now? Since the Drake is done, he goes mid and he tries to receive the wave. Viego is recalling right now. So if he doesn't have a rapid fire cannon in base, which he doesn't, he should stay in the mid lane. So now he tries to look at the side lane, but playing with Ornn right here, trying to kill Heimerdinger is death. It's very bad because enemy jungle could be here. It's super greedy. So let's get prio mid lane because that's what you do as an AD carry. He tries to go for a little bit of a aggressive play, as we can see right there. And what is he gonna do right now? He's just gonna fight. He's just gonna just fight around his teammates. And I really like that he plays around the vision. So we see Akali coming from downside. We see Viego is top side, so it's a pretty tough situation to play. You could play around top side, but you could also play around both side. But now he sees Nafiri and he just goes down. Like we can see that he's running towards Akali, which is really good. But what I want to highlight here is that he's playing really well around support and he's playing really well around jungle. Jungle taking vision, or support taking vision, or jungle doing Drake, or jungle invading. This is something that you should play around. Pay attention to Kalist right here. He wants to get the red buff really quickly. And after that, he actually realizes that Viego is going to invade. He was about to invade. So what does Kalist do right here? Well, again, as I said, jungle dictates the play right here. It is an Nafiri, so the kind of champion also matters a lot. If it was, Elise or Jarvan, it's even better. Because they have setup, but with Nafiri, he's strong, so you play around him, you push mid, and what do you do after push? We see that Kalist is playing around the jungle. He got the prio mid lane, the next wave is here, which means the next wave is here, which means he has minimum 20 seconds to follow before the waves meet. So he's following, he wants to get a bit of HP because he was low, he's considering, hey, I'm gonna go with them, I'm gonna follow, but in this specific case, he doesn't actually go for the follow. Why doesn't he actually go for the follow? It's because it's too far. Pay attention to where the waves are. The waves are really close to each other. He can just get prio mid. It's just more reliable to get the wave, but that doesn't mean it's always the case. If he actually takes the plant and there is a fight here and the waves are not actually that close, let's say the waves are here and here, he would actually move to the fight. But now the fight is potentially here or here, which is kind of far. As we can see, it's a few screens away. This is his screen. It's like 2 screens away. And also, like, the wave is really close. Like, if we really pay attention now, it's like it's there basically, right? So this is between him and the wave, and the distance between him and the fight made him that he can choose the wave. After he pushes the wave right here, he wants to go for the recall. So again, he wants to go for the recall because he has rapid fire cannon. So yes, he played around his jungle, but at the same time, he maintained priority. But at the same time, the most important thing is still taking the rapid fire cannon recalling. If the Viego keeps invading, if he stays for the Krug, if they want to make a play bot lane, Kalist wouldn't even care about that. He would just get push, recall for rapid fire cannon, because getting the power spikes as AD carry is even more important than playing around jungle in mid game. How to convert your lead from early game to a victory. You win lane, but very often don't actually win the game, and here is why.
Many players have this problem. From my experience, those are the potential mistakes why you are not able to win the game even after you won the lane. 1. You miss out your recall timings and you are losing tempo. When you get a lead on bot lane, it's all about taking the bot tower first and then grouping mid. So if you delay your recalls or you overextend unnecessarily for plates, then you are screwed. The second thing is that you're strong, but if your jungle is topside, you are still weak side. You're not supposed to play aggressive if you don't know where is the enemy jungle and your jungle is topside. That means you're gonna die very unnecessarily and this is gonna delay your snowball. 3. You're not rotating mid early enough after the tower, or if you rotate, you spend too much time there. And 4. You're not playing for objectives and you're not hovering your own jungle. He needs to make plays. Your support and jungle, they dictate the mid game, as I said before. You need to play with them. Let's go step by step and let me give you the example for each situation. Pay attention to the following example. We are looking at the Vayne right here, the AD carry. So we're going to speed up a little bit. So what she does here is that she's going to move to a fight. She gets some kills. And right now she goes all the way around to go to the laney phase. My question to you right now is that what is she supposed to do? I mean, obviously she should push the wave. We see the death timer of Jinx is 15 seconds, 9 seconds right now. She's pushing. So I want to ask you, what should she do right now? Should she go for the recall? Should she try to really help with the Drake? Or should she go for a play? So she has all of these options. Of course, we need to know her gold. We need to know the HP of the Drake. And we need to also know the HP of the plate and the death timers. All of these things will help her to make the decision. Xin Zhao started the Drake a while ago. So even though we're not really looking here, I'm assuming that is around 2000 HP. He can finish it by himself. He's level 9, so he doesn't really need Vayne. So then he can go for plate or he can go for the recall. The right play in this case, since the death timer is pretty big right here, well, 1 second basically means in 1 second plus 25 seconds, because that's how much time it takes to get to the laning phase from base. She has lots of time. She has 20 seconds in total, but realistically speaking, she has like 15 seconds because she needs to spend 8 seconds for the recall. So Jinx didn't even spawn. Judging of the items of Vayne right here, she needs to go for a plate. She needs to extend the lead. It's not greedy. There is no jungle pressure. The death timer of Jinx is crazy. She just respawned. And the HP of the plate right here is also pretty low, judging of the items of Vayne. She has Vampiric Scepter, Pickaxe, so she should go for the plate. She doesn't do it. So this is one problem. People don't know when to take plates based on the death timer. And pay attention to the next example. We're looking at the Caitlyn. She just got a lead, right? Right now, she just got some kills. So now she's pushing the wave. And after she pushes, what is she able to do? Well, we need to look at the death timer of the Senna right here. So it's 3 seconds, 1 second. So she just respawned. Right now, she is just about to leave the base. What she should do right now? Well, we have a fight on the river. So she could look to fight there. She did get a bit of gold. So she could go for the recall. Or she could go for the plate. We see that on the minimap right now. The guy is relatively close, so he could definitely look to go. He could also look to recall and ignore the play, or he could go for the plate. The worst thing that you could do is recall, judging that you have a massive wave right now and Senna just respawned based on those two variables, the size of the wave and the death timer. She could definitely consider to go for a plate. Following the river is also not bad. She has 1.3k gold, as we can see it right here. So she has lots of gold. The plate is full HP. So the HP of the plate is quite high. But judging that he has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 minions. And it's also a cannon. While she has Dirk with Caitlyn level 6, she can easily pop this plate. Especially because Senna just respawned. If Senna was basically second tower, or if Senna respawned like 10-20 seconds ago, it would be better to recall. But in this case, judging of these variables, she should go for a plate. This is how complex decision making is. You need to take a look at the death timer. You need to know where the Senna is. Can they punish you? Can they kill you? You need to see the HP of the plate. You need to kind of calculate, hey, do I have time to really go for this plate? So obviously in that game he didn't really do it, and that's why he lost. And that's basically how you lose, because you try to convert your lead, you try to get a lead, but then you don't know how to use it. Next situation is Twitch died. It's level 3 in this case, right? So we have a massive wave on the red side and Twitch just respawned. The Caitlyn is level 3. So in this case, if she's good, she just recalls. Wave is coming into her. She has a 4 seconds death timer on Twitch. So in this case, the wave is absolutely fine. She could just recall right away. Obviously, if she thinks she can get a BF sword or a Dirk by pushing the wave, letting the wave to come into her and breaking that wave state, breaking the wave state that that is coming into her is fine if she knows she can get a reliable, good component. Now she had around 400 gold, so by pushing this wave she's gonna get around 600 gold. It's still a bad recall, you're still gonna end up buying just a longsword, so it was better just to recall. What did she do? Well, she stayed, and now Twitch is in the lane. So what does it mean? That means Twitch is gonna push the wave pretty fast, and after she's gonna push, she's most likely gonna lose a plate. So Caitlyn actually decides to stay. Why is this bad? Well, it's bad because you are 2-0, Twitch is 0-2, you're trying to win the lane, you're trying to smash this guy, but now you're chunked in mana and chunked in HP, most importantly, and Twitch is able to do this, walk up, get prior, get push. You are playing Caitlyn versus Yuumi Twitch, and you're letting them win the matchup. Do you see what is on your screen right now? They just end up dying. Why? It's because the Caitlyn gave a chance to the Twitch to come back. Recall timings and understanding when to get plates is very important when it comes to converting your lead. Yes, you need to go for plates, but at the same time you don't want to greed for them, as we saw in some examples in this video. So definitely understand, can I get the plate or should I play it safe? I need to look at the death timer of enemy AD carry, I need to look at the HP of the plate, and I need to see the items. Usually you can not get the plate if you're not sure you can get the plate. It's safer to not go for it, but there are many situations where the death timer is big and you want to do it, so you should definitely do it. As I said before, dying unnecessarily is very bad, especially if you're playing weak side and you have a lead. You should really ward and play it slow. Don't go too aggressive if you don't know where is the enemy jungle. Pay attention to this case. Kai'Sa is strong. They are winning bot lane. He's up in CS, but the jungle is weak siding bot lane, right? We shouldn't really play aggressive. We should just have 2 wards right here and play it very slow. And what's going to happen is that they are, as you can see, they're just going to die. Why? Well, when you are weak side, it's not recommended to pass the middle line of the lane, which is this one, or worst case, if you're strong and you can kill them, this line. They are way over this line right now. They have Nautilus and Kayn. So if the Kai'Sa stays here, and then if she's prepared that she's going to receive a gank, which she should be because Diana is top, so where else can Kayn be other than trying to counter gank top or just be bot lane, right? So Kai'Sa died very unnecessarily right here, and this stops her for really snowballing. She won the lane, but yeah, she just threw her lead, and now they get Drake. It's going to be harder to play bot lane right here. So please don't die unnecessarily if you want to convert your lead. 3. To convert your lead, you need your mid-game rotations to be good. Once you got the bot tower, you gotta be sure you group mid lane to fight and harvest your jungle. Here you play for objective. This right here is one mistake that can happen also in your gameplay. Pay attention to this. So remember, you need to group mid lane. You got bot tower, you need to group mid lane. This guy on Ezreal, he got the bot tower, so right now he should recall and go mid lane, or just go mid lane right away, judging on his gold. He decides to push on more, which typically is fine because he has jungle around. If jungle wasn't around, it's better to just get a reset off. And let's pay attention to what he does after this. So what he does is simply crazy bad. He didn't need to recall. He needed to go base, get the mana immune in base, and then just go to mid lane. What he did is that he just stayed mid lane. We can see his mana right now. We can see he has a bunch of gold. We can see he doesn't actually have the mana to fight here. He just has like 300 mana on Ezreal. So this is one of the mistakes that you could do as well. Once you get the bot tower, please try to group to mid lane. There is no reason to actually go for the second tower unless you have super big pressure by your mid lane and your jungle. Typically going for the second tower on bot lane will expose you a lot, like people can just flank you from multiple angles, they can TP behind you. If you're pushing bot tower and you don't have your jungle and mid lane prio with you, it's typically bad. So group mid lane. What is the right way? The right way is very simple. You get the bot tower like this Lucian does, he recalls, he gets his rapid fire cannon, and once he's on mid lane, he knows what to do. He plays for objectives and he plays for jungle. For now, there is going to be a fight here. We're starting the objective. We are going immediately to the fight and we are fighting. It's that easy. You want to be with your teammates because you got a snowball. You push bot lane all the way, so Smolder is stuck right here into the second tower. So you just force a fight here and you win it. Another situation that I want to show you is the following. When you actually have a lead, this guy is 3-0 and he pushes bot lane. After he pushes bot lane, he wants to rotate to mid lane. Obviously on mid lane, he wants to fight around his jungle or fight around the objective, which at this point is Herald. So right now, if nothing really happens right there and he can't really join it, he also has the choice to obviously recall, but he doesn't have enough gold, or go back to bot lane. So at the moment, we are just hovering jungle, is bot lane. We're just hovering support right here. And we see that in this case, we see Rise on bot lane. So if this Jhin is good, if this is like a challenger player, he has two decisions to make. Hey, do I go back to bot lane and catch that wave, or do I fight? And since Yone is dead, and since Evelyn is actually not really inside of a fight and not really close to a fight, the best decision here is to go to bot lane, because we see that it's pretty unlikely that this is gonna, like, a fight is gonna happen right here, and it was just much safer to go to bot lane. If as Jhin is mid lane, there is a big fight that he can attend, obviously he can give up the bot wave, but since he has a lead, he doesn't want to lose it. If he's gonna keep doing this shit where he just wasted his time while we lose waves on bot because Yone doesn't catch those, then he's just gonna lose the game. So what he should have done is that, yes, he should group mid, but at the same time, he should be sure that he catches the waves on side lane if his mid laner doesn't want to do that. And yeah, as we can see it on the screen, he just officially lost his lead right now. So that's how you lose the game, and that's why you can't convert. We lose bot now, we lose mid now, and everything is gonna be very, very suffering, as we can see right here. So what you will learn from this playstyle is, yeah, you group mid lane, but if no one catches bot wave and there is no fight, reliable fight here that you can take, just go bot, push another wave, push the Rise until this tower, and then you can rotate back to mid lane again. Pay attention to the next situation in this game. The Aphelios has 1, 2, 3.5 items. He is extremely strong, as then enemy AD carry has only 2 items. The worst thing that you can do right now, since you want to convert your lead, you want to stay with your teammates. So pay attention to what he does in this case. So we TP top. The jungle is actually getting vision. We want to get better on Nashor vision. We want to get this side collected in terms of vision, and we want to play for bot tower, for top tower, sorry. Now, pay attention to what the Aphelios does. He is just AFK farming. Taking jungle camps can be useful if there is absolute no play on the map. So if Pantheon is not top and Malphite is dead, if there are no waves to collect, then taking farms is fine. But if there is a wave on top lane, you go and prioritize the wave instead of the camp. If the people are actually taking push on top lane and trying to make a play on top lane, and they are actually trying to get vision and trying to fight, then you should prioritize fighting and hovering your teammates. Waves and teammates are a lot more important than taking camps, because camps are actually nerfed. Like a year ago, they nerfed it or something around that. And you don't actually get so much. You get like 70 gold and some XP. But it's not worth it, because again, if you can get a wave, or if you can actually be in a fight, it's much better than what you see on the screen right now. This is a complete horrible. Obviously, this is a low elo game. I think it's below diamond actually. And yeah, of course, Pantheon is behind the guy. Aphelios should be right there. He should be actually catching Nami here on the vision. Of course, if he was human with Aphelios, he wouldn't be here. He would be here because he should have been with Pantheon. And this is always a kill. This is always like really easy. Double kill. Malphite will not die. We see Katarina tries to clean up. This guy is low HP. Just imagine if the Aphelios doesn't do the Uga Buga taking the camps thing when we're trying to actually get pressure on top lane. We have Pantheon ulti. Everyone is trying to get vision on top lane, and he's just taking farm. This is honestly reportable. If I see this in solo queue and I play support, I report for sure. I'm like, bro, you want to win the game, or you just want to AFK farm? You have 4 items. You need to be in the fight. So please, once you got your power spike, stay with your teammates. Of course, if those 2 camps will give you like an Infinity Edge or a Phantom Dancer, Hurricane, like a huge item, then you have a reason to ignore, and you should ping your teammates. But usually taking camps should be your last decision before you think about anything else. Pay attention to the next example. You need to play for power spikes mid-game, mid to late game. You need to play for your power spike and for your items. This guy, he needs a little bit more for Cyrilda, so this is why he's pushing the bot lane. There is the Baron Asher up right now, so he actually decides to go for the Krugs right here, which is pretty bad, right? Same thing, don't take camps, just go mid lane, stay with your teammates, blah, blah, blah. But in this case, it's actually fine to go for the camp, because he wanted to just get 100 gold so he can get his item. So I told him, hey, go for the Krugs, and then he takes the Krugs, and I tell him, hey, just recall, ping your teammates that you shouldn't fight. The fight is anyways pretty far, so he should just get Cyrilda. But what he does right here is that after he actually takes the camp, he's choosing to consider to fight, which is horrible. It's because the fight is incredibly far, and because he has a big power spike in base. So pay attention to where the teammates are right now. So they're pretty far. They're like 2 screens away, 3 screens away, Nunu, Camille. So he should just recall right now. There are situations when you have your items right here, but your teammates are really close to you. You have full mana, full HP, and you're choosing to, you consider staying and saying like, hey, I'm going to cancel my recall even if I have this big power spike in base. Typically, it's just better to recall and ignore your teammates if you have a big power spike as an AD carry. You have big power spike in base, just recall, abandon them, ping them. But sometimes if they are really close to you and you can fight, you know, they are starting a fight, then you can consider staying. The problem is that he's starting to fight. Do you see where the people are? We see the people are on the mid tower, and he was at Krugs. So what kind of distance are we talking here? So he was at Krugs and they were fighting here. Do you see this? It's way too far. There are situations when you're like choosing to be like, hey, I'm not gonna get the item, let me cancel my recall, but this is way too far. If the fight was like here, I mean, sure, if you have enough mana and HP, I mean, it's so close to you, you can. But the fight is just really, really far. It's like 3 screens away from you. Just ignore them. Don't stay. Of course, this guy is hard stack player. And this is one of the reasons why he's hard stack, because he doesn't know when to abandon fights and when to actually stay in the fights. He goes in the fight and obviously he's going to lose this. Everyone is going to die kind of thing. Yeah, and he's going to die too, because he's just very late to the party. So then when he joins, he just gets obliterated. This is pretty normal. So guys, if the fight is extremely close and you have a power spike, you can consider staying for the fight, but usually it's just better to just get your power spike in base, ignore your teammates and play from there. Another must know if you want to convert your lead is knowing when to start Baron Nashor. Look at this example right now. So we've got the Varus game right here, and we will see that he will be fighting very soon. So what happens in the fight is very simple. They are killing a lot of people, and we see that we have many people that are alive. So here it's an ace. Why not do Baron Nashor? Yes, you don't have jungle here. Why not do Baron Nashor right now? 5 people are dead. The death timers are pretty huge. Just the Sona has a pretty low death timer, 8 seconds. Someone can tank it, and that is Nico. She's looking pretty tanky as she's building HP. We do have Camille TP as well, so she could just recall and TP. And we have enough damage since we have a level 16 Varus. Even though it's not on hit, it still does a pretty consistent damage on the Baron. What does he do right now? Of course, we're talking about the low elo player, so he's just gonna push mid, or then he's gonna go for the Drake. Nothing but going for Baron Nashor. You had everything you need. You had the damage, you had someone to tank it, and the entire enemy team was dead. You have to do better in there. Pay attention to this example right here. We have Kayle in this game. This is a gold game, right? So what we see is that Kayle has an immense amount of pressure right here. The enemy team, especially Kha'Zix, he's going towards bot lane. What should they do? It is very simple. They should go for the Baron. Why? It's because Kha'Zix was actually going bot lane. We have a lot of damage with the Volibear 8-2. He does a pretty decent amount of damage on the Baron Nashor. The Varus is 2-9, so it's not really going to provide much, but Volley can tank it. Volley also does a pretty decent damage. And especially because we saw Kha'Zix on Vision a few seconds ago, Volibear should go for the Baron. Yes, if a minimum 3 people die, you can immediately go for the Baron. But there are many situations when your enemy jungle goes bot lane, or you see a lot of people on bot lane that are too far away from the objective, and you can just go for it. And of course, the gold players, they still went for it. They still started, they still done it, and they still took it. But of course, this was pretty close because Lux almost took it. If the Twitch wanted to follow, he could have followed. It was so much easier for enemy team to take it just because the gold Volibear didn't actually know that, hey, Kha'Zix is bot, let's do Baron. Pay attention to the following example as well. We've got the TP here on the Akali. We're trying to kill the cannon. The pike misses the hook. They end up killing the cannon. They actually end up killing 2 people right here. We have Naafiri dead. So at this point, we have 2 people dead from the enemy team, but our jungle is dead. So going for Nashor right now is bad. The Akali and pike can't really do too much damage. Queen could rotate, but he's still a queen. He does a decent amount of damage on the Baron, but it's a bad call, right? But what Akali does right here, because she's really strong, she kills the enemy jungle. So at this exact point right now, they could immediately turn to go for the Baron. They have the bot lane push the Mundo. The Mundo has TP, even though if it doesn't have TP, the Baron call is still good. Queen can immediately move to the Baron. We have jungle close proximity, and enemy jungle has a 40 seconds that timer, which means 40 plus 20, because that's basically how many seconds it takes to get to the Baron. Nashor around 17 seconds at this point with boots. So at the moment we see that Kali is recalling, Pike is getting vision, we're not really pinging the Naafiri. We should just go for the Nash. They started it at some point, it's just they did it pretty late, and if at this point the cannon wants to commit a TP here, or if at this point Aurelion Sol wants to commit a TP here,
they can, and they can actually steal it. The fact that they waited so much could have costed them. Of course, it's a gold game, so it doesn't really matter. But if any of these players, if they're gonna play in an emerald game, they'll probably lose the game here because they'll start the Baron, enemy team will come, they'll kill them all, and it's GG. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword if you don't know where to Baron Nashor, but if you just respect the rule of, hey, we killed 3 people from the enemy team, and we have enough damage, and there is someone that can tank it easily, then you should always consider to Nashor because it's a very good macro play that if you know how to make it and if you understand it, you can win a lot more games.
In the next situations, we're actually going to see how to ping properly and how can you actually make it more efficient. So the first thing that I can actually show you is the following. So for example, let's say I want to push right here. If I want to push right here, I'm usually just looking to just ping him. Usually I like to ping 2 times. I don't really actually like to ping multiple times. Like if you're trying to be the kind of guy that does this, you're just going to tilt him. Kind of guy that does this, you're just gonna tilt him. If you ever played support and you actually get pinged like this, you're probably gonna get really annoyed. So be very careful if you're actually over pinging. Usually the sweet spot I think is about like 2 pings. I don't think it's a big deal to do 2 pings. You basically want to make the balance between too little and too much. Like for example right here we just traded. So 1 ping is a bit iffy. But 2 pings is usually the best. Like you do 2 consecutive pings, like let's say I want to push this wave, 1, 2, and we just go really hard. And yeah, try to ping on the wave as well. The next tip is try to ping the exact thing that you want to do. For example, here if I want to push this wave, I'm gonna ping the wave. Usually a lot of people are like, if you want your support to do something and he's like behind right there and you ping him on his head like this, he might get triggered. So be very careful because pinging can help you, but it can also hold you back. Why? It's because if you trigger your people, they're probably just gonna, well, AFK, and that's not good at all, right? So we talked about how to ping actually and be specific. Obviously you want to make sure you don't ping like frustration. If you want him to stay, don't just ping like this, ping assistance, and then you're immediately going to potentially actually make him stay. Like there, I'm potentially gonna get dove, for example, right here. He's recalling, so obviously I want to make him stay. This is a bot game, so of course it doesn't really follow. But reality is that if you're actually pinging when you're about to get dove, he will most likely follow. And again, like when you're pinging, if you see him recalling behind of you, I see a lot of players that try to ping, but they ping it super late. Like make sure you're pinging exactly, this is the third tip, ping exactly when you're making the, like exactly before you're making the decision. So for example, if the guy is actually recalling behind you and you see him recalling, don't let his recall to go like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Just like insta ping him. The moment he press B, you instantly ping him on my way, so he can know. Because usually, like especially in lower elo, people press B and then they open the shop. So right here, they are in a zone where they actually can't see the pings. So it's really important for you to actually be fast when you're pinging, right? The next following ping is actually very helpful in the mid game as AD carry. So for example, right now I'm going for a gank, I'm trying to look for a gank, and let's say I can't really do it, right? Like Gale is trying to set up, but right now I want to recall. So what I'm doing is that of course he's trying to go in, but I'm pinging myself. Do you guys see right here? I'm pinging myself so he knows that I'm recalling. So this is very important for mid game. If you're AD carry and you have a huge item, and let's say your team is actually still mid lane, it's really helpful to ping your head, because if you ping your head, they'll probably just look at the minimap and be like, oh shit, look, that guy is recalling. So for example right here, Galio, I pinged on my way, I tried to go for a gank, but the moment I actually disengage, I ping myself that we're not gonna be able to do that, and I immediately just went base. So pinging yourself is also a good tip. And also another thing that you can do is that you want to confirm. Like for example, let's say Trundle pings on my way right here, I ping on my way as well. This is the confirmation ping, and this is very important for sure, because once you're gonna do confirmation ping, what's gonna end up happening is that he's gonna be more happy to like go in, and he's gonna be like a lot more confident, right? So if someone is like pinging on my way, like it's really important for you to actually ping confirmation ping right here, right? So let's say he's pinging on my way, I'm also pinging on my way. That means confirmation ping, right? Or he's pinging on my way, you can ping like back off, like hey, I don't want to engage. That's fine, but usually I don't recommend you to actually control much of his decision making. Like if he makes a call, just try to hover and follow in a way, because if you try to, he's pinging on my way and you're always like pinging danger, that might be very annoying for him. And we all know how support works, and we all know how support players are. So if you're like discouraging their engage, and there is, I mean, okay, maybe one option is that you're discouraging them, they ping on my way, you're discouraging them to like not go in,
but then they will just not like be bot lane anymore. They'll just perma roam, or they will start flaming you like, what the fuck are you pinging me? Why are you pinging me? Let's go in, we can win. Like, you not being on the same page, it can be fixed with let him be. Don't discourage this call. Like, I honestly think that if you want to ping properly, just ping only if you want to go in with him, okay? If you don't want to go with him, just try to hover. And again, as I said, try to hover in a position where you're safe, but he's also safe. And don't like overextend too hard. But at the same time, don't try to be too annoying with the pings, because again, it can be a double-edged sword. So what I'm saying is that if you're agreeing with what he does and he's like making a call, you can definitely ping on my way confirmation ping. But if you're not actually agreeing, usually I will let him be, I will let him engage, and then I will hover him like from behind, and I will not follow fully, but I will not like discourage him, because again, if he's going in and he's pinging on my way and you're always pinging danger, I see a lot of AD carries doing this, you're gonna tilt him and he's gonna go top lane, he's gonna leave you, and you don't want that into your game, right? Another very important thing that no one actually does in the late, like low elo and also high elo, is that, let's say right now, he wants to recall, I'm pinging to push, he actually listens to me. Of course, like, we need to kill this guy again, sorry for that. And then of course, like right now we need to push, right? And he's following me because he actually backed off. If you guys see my trundle right here, he actually backed off. So right now I'm gonna try to do 2 pings as well. Of course, he's gonna follow, he's gonna stay with me. And right now, after I'm pushing, I'm just gonna back. He's backing with me. And what do? I thumbs him up. Well played, bro. You know, it's really important. I mean, again, this is a bot, so it doesn't work with this guy, but like making sure you cheer him up, making sure he followed you. So cheer him up. That's very good for his mental. League of Legends is a game where there is so many emotions. You're gonna get tilted, and it's like really hard for you to play if you're tilted. So if your support follows you, whether you ping him to stay with you or whether you want him to push with you, make sure you ping him. Like, I would avoid like, you can ping in a funny way as well if you want, or you can just put a thumbs up on it. Timo thumbs up, you know, that's good. Just so you can make sure he's happy, because again, if you're constantly like pinging him and triggering him, and you're gonna have a trundle or like a support that is like, well, FK. Another thing to understand about League of Legends is that some pings are actually more intensive than others. So for example, if you want to ping something, let's say you can also ping, for example, jungle is bot lane, try to ping this ping. Did you hear it? Look, this ping is much better than this ping. And anyways, the yellow ping is much better than this ping. This ping is the most useless ping that you can ever think about in the game. So some pings are more intense. For example, yeah, this is a very intense ping, like the danger one. And this is also a very intense ping. So usually when I'm pinging with intense ping. I avoid this ping. I avoid enemy missing, of course. Like, honestly, I think there is no reason for you to ping enemy missing. Like, if they're actually missing, let's say, like right now, let's say I'm Zyra right now and Talia is missing, yes? So let's say I'm playing Talia support. Like, she shouldn't ping SS like this. That's garbage. She should ping the river, danger. So mid lane is gonna be scared. Like, the Gala is gonna be scared of like going in, right? That's like, it's kind of obvious. Like, there are some pings that are kind of useless, because this danger means this, sorry, not this. This means, guys, get the fuck out of there. Galio, run. Talia is coming. This means, oh guys, Talia is missing. We don't know where she is, so careful. Yeah, but should top lane be careful? Should mid lane be careful? Because, I mean, obviously, the support can also roam top lane, right? So you need to be very specific with your pings, and you need to make sure you use the intense pings. And of course, this is also really intense. Like, it's really intense. You can feel it. Your support is gonna feel forced to actually, you know, go in with this ping. And of course, if you're in the later stages and let's say Baron is up, and let's say no one is in the fight and you want them to do Nashor, don't do. This is also like a very useless ping. Like, you'd rather play for Drake, guys, like something like this. Like, you'd rather typing is also very important sometimes. I'll show you like some examples with when typing is actually important, if you can do it fast. Because if you're doing play for Drake, like if you're typing like slow, that's not gonna be like, you have to do a play for Drake now. Like, just type really fast, just type like really fast, and then you just go from there. Because the thing is, if you don't do that, what's gonna end up happening is that you're gonna waste time. So typing can help you, and if you're pinging in the Nashor, just ping assistance is one of the best pings, but usually you just ping, like, you need to ping 5 times, right?
For the Voidlings, for the Herald, and especially for the Nashor, if you ping in the later stages, you just ping 5 times. Of course, now this is not good call. I shouldn't really be doing this when I have no prio here on top lane, and I mean I have prio mid lane at least, but it's still not a good call. So really important, make sure you use the right pings. Another thing that you can actually do is you can make sure you are having shortcuts for ping. So instead of doing this and doing this, I just do go. You either press Alt or Control or even G, you can ping. So it's like really easy for you to ping, right? Because the thing is, you want to be fast in this game. Like I have it, for example, on N, but you can also like press Alt and make sure you scroll around, or G, or even V, I think it is, but I have by V on the F keys, so I can actually do it much easier. But yeah, I mean, just having shortcuts on the pings is like actually quite important. You can put it on the mouse button as well. Like you have a lot of options there, right there. Oh yeah, don't forget that when you ping in the battle naturally, you have to ping it like 5-6 times. Obviously on the laning phase this rule doesn't actually work, doesn't really apply. In laning phase you ping maximum 2 times, maybe sometimes 3 times, but 2 times is the sweet spot. But on the Nashor and big objectives like Drake, you can consider pinging like a lot. Another ping that is important is the cooldown ping. So it's really important for you to actually, when someone is losing something in the laning phase, like an important ability, that you actually ping, so your teammate can actually play around this. For example, right here, you guys can see I play Emilio. I'm hitting the minions constantly. We have Varus E and we have Emilio E. Emilio has 2 shields, Janna has W level 1 and Caitlyn has Q. So it's really crucial for us to like actually ping like when we're having an ability. Like right now I wasted my E, so what I'm doing is that I'm actually pinging my E. The reason why I'm pinging my E is because since I did this mistake and I wasted my E, enemy know that I have around 12 seconds to 13 seconds cooldown on my E. Therefore, as you guys can see, this Caitlyn is high master, so she's clicking up because she knows, hey, Emilio, he used the second shield. We need to like walk up. Of course, Varus, he also has to know that, but he needs to know exactly, okay, how much is Emilio E, and I ping it right now 12 seconds, and I will ping it, I should ping it as well when it's like 4 or 3 seconds as well, so he will know as well, right? So as you guys can see, it's 3 seconds. I ping it one more time and he walked up. Did you guys see that? He walked up, and right now you guys will say, oh, besides, but you know, my support will never follow me like this. All of these pings, man. I mean, my support will never follow, right? I mean, sure, maybe he's gonna follow more, but I mean, some of the tips don't work, right? I mean, the real reason why you get these tips is really, you want to higher your chances of support following you. You want to higher your chances of your teammates following you. Whether they will follow or not depends also on like how tilted they are before the game, what kind of players they are, because maybe if they are Janna main, they will have a proclivity to play safe. But yeah, you can just, with these tips, you can just higher your chances of you know, making sure they follow you, right? Another important thing that you actually might look to do is the following. So right now they are diveable on the bot lane, and I mean, obviously we can do extremely easy the dive, and then I ping my jungle on the head and I ping bot lane all in. And usually what I do after this, so I can actually make myself clear that I'm not actually wanting a gank, I'm willing to go for a dive. So usually I also write here dive, like I write really fast dives. It's really important for you to be clear. After you're pinging, you might as well just look to type in the chat, but you can either be a fast writer, because if you don't type fast, then you're gonna waste time. You'd rather not type. So here I pinged my Gwen, she walked up. This is again master tier, so it's a reasonable rank, but if you're playing in lower rank, you should usually just try to ping and then type dive. And again, don't have expectations, because most likely people are not like that proficient at diving, you know. And look what the situation is looking like right here. They can't do shit. This guy is so behind in CS because we obliterated them level 1 and level 2. We played like really well in terms of trading, and because I wrote, it was just GG. Like it was just really GG. So writing in the chat, as long as you're fast and you're not wasting time, it can help you a lot for solo environments. So remember these rules. For the early game, you gotta be specific with your pings. If you wanna push the wave, be sure to ping the push ping. If you want to all in, be sure to ping the all in ping. You gotta use the right ping. Don't ping more than 2 times. In the early game, you gotta make sure you don't ping too much, because you're gonna tilt your teammates, and you don't wanna be too aggressive with your support because they might just get tilted and leave your lane. 3. Try to ping as fast as you see the bad decision from your teammates. The Soraka is channeling the recall, she just press B and you want to stay, you think you can kill them, you want to get plates, immediately ping her. Don't let her go into the shop, don't let her finish the recall, don't let her go
for like 5-6 seconds onto the channeling the recall, and then you try to ping, but then it's too late. For the later stages, you gotta ping 4+ times. If it's a big call like Baron Nashor, Elder Drake, you gotta ping like all-in ping 5 times, 6 times. It's a very urgent ping, and you wanna make sure you don't ping when people are fighting. I see this a lot in low elo. If all of your teammates are fighting, they are fighting under the blue buff. Like let's say they're all right here, right? And you're like, oh boys, we're fighting there, you know, but we need to go for Baron. We need to do Baron, guys. Just ping, ping, ping. Just let them finish the fight. Let them kill everyone. Or just follow and kill everyone. And then after they're all, like, enemy team is not there, then you just ping Baron so you guys can just immediately turn onto the Baron. It is really that simple. Look at this example right here. So I'm Quirky. I'm getting respawned very, very soon. And I know already the next objective. Next objective is the Atakan. I'm pinging 2 times with the all-in ping, and I move there immediately. As I'm pinging, they were not in a fight, right? I'm pinging again right now, but unfortunately, as I'm pinging, Aurora and Senna are fighting on mid lane, so only Riven that is not fighting is actually listening to my call. So at the moment, I'm confidently going for the Atakan, and I'm doing it. Of course, my pings are useless for the Senna and Aurora, as they are getting into the fight right now, and they are just pushing to mid lane. So now my pings worked. 1, I pinged enough. I pinged like 3 times. 4, I went towards the objective. It's very important to lead by action. If you gotta go towards the objective and show them that you want to do it, you gotta ping, and you gotta make sure you don't ping when they are in a fight. In the case where my pings don't work, and let's say I do that and Riven is also mid lane, then I will continue my gameplay with pushing bot, pushing top lane right here, taking the Gromp, and then I will choose to get top tower or just join the mid lane if I think we can end the game. So 1, I try to ping, but I always try to see what my teammates do. If they don't agree, then I will actually just follow them, because if I ping Baron and 3 people are just fighting mid lane, then I should go with them. I try to ping, I try to go towards the objective, but if they really don't follow, then I follow them, because I mean, if 4 people tell you that it's not a good call to go Nash and you think you need to go Nash, I mean, obviously you're gonna follow your teammates, you're not gonna follow yourself. And you always have a plan, even though, you know, you're pinging, you're trying to make the calls, you always have a plan. Hey, what if they don't follow? What am I gonna do? Respecting all of these rules will higher your chances to ping reliably and your teammates to follow you. Is not gonna work every game, but from my experience in low elo, it works a lot more than it doesn't. I would say for 60 to 70% of the cases they will follow. And obviously, if you are 0.5, 0.6, 0.10 and you're starting to ping, and they will not follow because you're just not playing good in that game and they don't trust you. But if you are a strong guy, you're 10-0, 9-1 like I'm in this game, they will tend to follow you more because they trust that you're a good player. So I would definitely ping more. Same thing here. Do you guys see this ping? What does this ping tell you? Well, first of all, I want to recall, but then I see Nashor. No one is in a fight and I'm pinging 5 times. No one is really inside of a fight. I ping 5 times because we have pushed up and I see Hecarim going towards bot lane. And I'm like, hey guys, let's do the Baron. They don't follow, so what am I gonna do if they don't follow? I'm gonna go towards mid lane. In this case, it's a weird situation because 2 people followed and 2 people didn't. Like Aurora just got caught on mid lane. In this case, I should have gone on Nash because my call was good and they followed. If Lee Sin and Riven go towards mid lane, then I should follow them. But since 3 people, Senna, Lee Sin and Riven, already agreed with the Baron and they started it, I should have immediately go on the Baron and stay on it. Of course, in this case, I ping them back because it's a bad call and enemy team is coming. But yeah, these rules you should apply. This you should do it in your games. I guarantee you it's going to work for you as well. Not every game, but most of your game, if you do it well, if you do it properly, and if you respect all of these rules. Now we will talk about target prioritization and teamfights. In simple words, how do we know who to focus in a 2v2, 3v3 or 5v5? We'll break down the most important concepts that you need to consider and give examples for each of them. Then we will talk about 5v5s and 2v2s separately. The concepts are simple. 1. Threats. Identify the threats. What can kill you? What are the most important abilities that the enemy team has that if they hit, you're dead? Assess them. Look at them. This is what you do in the loading screen before the game. 2. Hit the closest target. You need to go for a safe place. Hitting the closest target is by far the absolute best thing that you can do in most cases. But there are also cases where you can go on the backline, and that comes number 3, where you need to do 90% plays. If it's safer, then go on the backline. It's always preferable, but in majority of the cases, going for a backline will expose you, and we'll see why very soon. This right here is an Emerald Kai'Sa that was a 4-man diamond player. So we have a fairly decent player. We have a Kai'Sa right here, so the thing that she should consider is the Jarvan ulti or EQ. The ulti of Jarvan is not really a big deal since Kai'Sa can ulti out. Talia W and E. The Yumi ulti and Zeri, they don't really actually have much CC, and the Tahm W, which should be fairly easy to dodge, judging that she has the invisibility on the E. Pay attention to how well she plays this teamfight. She walks up and then she goes on the closest target. That's job done, right? But the thing that I really love about this teamfight, about this former Diamond player, which is again very, very decent. He goes on the closest target, and then when he sees a good opportunity, he just goes in and he just tries to go onto the backline. This fight was fairly decent. I say decent because he played it pretty good. He died anyways because he made a few mistakes, but I really like that if we actually go on like low speed, there is the EQ Jarvan that she saw it on the screen. She saw it on the screen, so she's good to go. She was a bit concerned at the beginning of the fight because she looked, she tried to follow, but she couldn't really go too deep. She was E, she saw the Jarvan E, and then she is in. She's going on the closest target, but she's not too forward. Then she sees that the guy is isolated on her, the Jarvan. And now he's like, hey, I'm going to go on the closest target. Tahm has a Q, so I'm going to back off a little bit. I'm going to kite, I'm going to space on him. And now when he sees this, when he sees Zeri is absolute 1 HP, he's like, okay, this is a very reliable play. Let me do it. Let me just go for it. And this is a very good technique. Of course, he ulted on a bad angle. He should ulti closer to his teammates. He could have ulted over the wall as well to just go on the Talia to be closer to his teammate. Right here, we see he missed a few clicks after. So he didn't play it clean. He's still an Emerald former Diamond player. So he's not really going to, you know, do everything clean. But he used the fundamentals quite well. He knew what are the threats. The Jarvan E, he knew how to play around it. And Jarvan EQ, Tahm W, he hit the closest target, and when he saw that it's very reliable to go on the backline, boom, Zeri 1 HP, let's go and kill her. It was a 90% play. In this case, it was just the execution that holding him back. So hitting the closest target is very easy and very simple, but when do you go on the backline target? And as I said, if it's super reliable, like an 80 to 90% play, then you can go on the backline. Pay attention to this example. So Kai'Sa jumps in, right? Is this a reliable play? Well, I mean, look at the HP. It is, right? It's not. It is not a reliable play because he doesn't know where is Hecarim. He doesn't know where is Volibear. So if we actually see the vision, Hecarim was there and just goes and pop him. That's why I usually just hit the closest target, play it safe, and I don't take risks like this. There are some situations where this is easy. Like let's say Ezreal is that HP and Heka is dead, or we know where Volibear is, we know where Hecarim is, and you can just ulti and you can get out, maybe ulti here and then get out immediately or towards your team. But ulting melee with Ezreal, not even ulting here to last hit and then backing off, this is greedy. It looked like a 90% play, but it's not. So be very careful. If you are not sure that going on the backline is the right play, you can always default to hitting the closest target. And when you're good to go, when you feel like it's a 95, 90% guaranteed play, and when I say guaranteed, I mean it, guaranteed, because you saw in the last example what might look like a guaranteed play, it might not be when you play champions like backline to frontline champions. So be very careful how you assess the fight as being 80% guaranteed, 90% guaranteed, or just a coin flip. This right here was a coin flip. He didn't know. He didn't have vision on the enemies. Now I'm going to introduce you to the most important things that you should know when it comes to focusing the right target in the laning phase. So if you want to focus 2v2 or even 3v3, this also works in the later stages, but pay attention to this. So there are three most important rules: the rule of CC, the rule of HP, and the rule of distance. So if the AD carry is caught like this and you can both focus on one target and the support is far away, the rule of distance says go on the guy that is closer to you. Positioning rule or distance rule, how some pro players like to call it. The second rule is the CC rule. If they are both close to each other, but your Nautilus just hooked the support, the Soraka, then you should go on the CC, on the guy that the CC was being used. This is the CC rule. So we've got the distance rule, we've got the CC rule, and we've got the HP rule. The HP rule says we go on the target that is lower. So if we have a situation here where this guy is like 70% and this guy is like 40%, we should try to spend the poke. Let's say we're Varus, we should try to spend the poke onto the 40% ideally. So we got the HP rule, always prefer to go on the target that is lower, especially if it's significantly lower than the other, then just focus him. The CC rule, look at your CC. What kind of CC do you have? Did Nautilus hit the hook on someone? Just go on that person. Don't try to go on the back line. And 3 is the distance rule. Is someone like Koth? Like, can you just, is someone overextended, whether it's the support or the AD carry. If you and your support can together focus him and they are very split up on the fight, then you should focus the guy that is really the guy that you and your support are able to hit. Pay attention to the following example. We have the same Kai'Sa with a Nautilus against Tahm Kench. What is she doing? She's focusing the Tahm Kench. Obviously, we just see him. So what do I like about this Kai'Sa? What should Kai'Sa do right now? Well, if you answered Kai'Sa should go on the Ezreal, you are wrong, and that's maybe why you're stuck. Ezreal has E. There is absolutely no universe where you can kill him if he is here. Even if Sylas has some sort of CC, we should go on to the Tahm Kench. Why? Well, because he is closer to us and because the CC is being used on that guy. Pay attention to the Nautilus. He hooks him, and right now he's actually getting pretty low. And now we see the Nautilus actually ulted him. So if you would go onto the Ezreal right now and then Tahm Kench, for example, he flashes away or he gets his W off or something, and then Ezreal just is here or flashes, then you are just screwed, right? So gotta make sure you focus the guy that is the CC'd, okay? We have Nautilus, he's CC'd, we're good to go. Now we will see the rule of distance. Pay attention to the Karma and pay attention to the Philios. We see where Melio is, right? His Melio is very split up. Look at them. They just go on one guy. Why? It's because Melio, well, in this case, he was actually AFK, but the concept is very simple. Even if he wasn't AFK, the Draven couldn't really do much right here, just because the Philios range is this range, the Karma range is this range, and they both can focus the same thing. They both can focus the same target, and Melio was not able to help. Maybe he would be able to like shield him one more time. He flashed anyways, so he would be able to do that without the flash. But the example is simple. The distance will go on the guy that is closer to you. Now we will talk about the HP rule. This is a Diamond former Master Peak player, so he's a little bit more decent at the game. Pay attention to this. They have Varus, Vel'Koz. So who should they poke right now? Who should they focus on? So in this case, you can use the distance rule, which says just go on the Seraphim. The CC rule, we don't really have, we have W on the Vel'Koz, so we don't have the CC rule. So who should he focus? Well, in this case, in this exact situation, he should focus the guy that is lower. So the Soraka has around 420, this guy has around 460 HP. It's much better to focus Soraka. Why? Well, first of all, Soraka is closer to the angle of the Vel'Koz right here. Also, Soraka is in a tight spot. It's very difficult to dodge there. And third, the most important thing, she's lower. If we have Soraka this HP and Seraphim is full HP, there is no reason to not focus Soraka. If Seraphim is full HP and Soraka is chunked, then we go on Soraka. We go on the lower target. If the Soraka is full HP and the Seraphim is this HP, then we should go on the Seraphim. So it all depends on the distance between you and the target, how likely is it for you to hit it. But in this case especially, is we need to go on the lower guy target because they are both together pretty close to the Vel'Koz and Varus. So we can, you know, if you want to focus Seraphim, we can focus Seraphim. In fact, if Seraphim is this HP, we actually go on Seraphim. But since Soraka is slightly lower than Seraphim, we need to choose to go on to the Soraka, which he did it because that's why he's master tier, because he's a decent player. These things look simple, but many players actually struggle with them. So let's pay attention. Sorry. Let's pay attention to the next example. So right now we have Draven against Karma Ezreal. Draven did recall, Ezreal didn't recall. Pay attention to this. Okay, what should Ezreal do right now? So Draven has items, Ezreal doesn't have items, and in this case we got hooked on the Karma. If you just said hit the closest target, you are wrong. In general, yeah, you can just hit the closest target if it's too greedy to hit the Draven, but we see a very important thing right here. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. We have a W on the Karma, just use on the Draven. So the CC is about to hit, okay? The distance between Ezreal and Draven is pretty low. I mean, yeah, he can hit Blitzcrank, but at the same time, he can just move one step forward and just hit the target that is CC'd. And also, something that you need to consider here, you have a massive wave at level 3, Draven at level 2. He should go on the Draven. So he does it. This is an amazing play. This guy is around Emerald as well. So this was a good play. And even though Karma just leaves, Blitzcrank has no hook. And guess what? Blitzcrank has no hook, so he can just punish them. The Draven just walks up, doesn't actually respect the Ezreal, and he just ends up winning. He just ends up getting a double. What did he use there? Well, it's really smart for him that he actually saw that Karma used a W, and he was like, hey, there is no reason for me to go on the Draven. I just want to go. Yes, we are weaker here, but we have a big wave, and we hit the W on the Draven. If Draven was, for example, in this position and the Karma W is him there, then he shouldn't go because Draven is too in a safe position and you need to walk a lot of steps to get Draven. So in that case, you should default into hitting the closest target. If the Blitzcrank is here and the Draven is here, even though he's rooted, you should not go on Draven. But in this exact case, the distance between Ezreal and Draven is pretty short. Karma is seeing the target as well on Draven. We have a massive wave, so this is the right play. He should go on the Draven right here. Let's look on the next example with the same player right here. So again, they are stronger. Draven is really good with 2 access. This guy gets hooked, so what should the guy do right here? What should the Ezreal do right now? Well, judging that there is no CC on Draven and he's actually under the tower, he has a lot of HP, he should go on Blitzcrank. This one is pretty easy. I think you should also know it. Why wouldn't he go on Draven? Is because he's too safe. At level 6, Karma is going to get one shot by Blitzcrank at Draven, and the minions don't help right now. So he should just go on the closest target. What did he do? He went onto the Draven. Did it work? Well, it almost worked, but it's still a really bad play. Why was it a bad play? Well, simply because if you are going on the Blitzcrank, you're getting a lot more auto attacks. Why? Well, just pay attention to where Blitzcrank is. If you're trying to go on Blitzcrank, you get your WQ and probably 2 auto attacks. If you're trying to go on the Draven, you only get the WQ and that's it, right? You just get the WQ and then you can't re-auto attack him. You auto attack him once, but imagine if you actually go on the Blitzcrank, you can auto attack him twice, 3 times, minimum 2 times more. Minimum 2 times more because he was closer to you right here. Of course, they made a big mistake and Blitzcrank here, he's not human. He doesn't actually tank this Q, he doesn't actually tank the E, he doesn't actually tank anything, so he just plays like a bronze player. But still, we see that Emerald Ezreal, he actually made a mistake in terms of who to focus right there. Just go on the closest target. It's much simpler, it's much safer. No reason to go on the backline if it's not really safe. Blitzcrank is closer to you. The distance rule says just go on Blitzcrank unless you can easily kill Draven reliably. So the conclusion is very simple. You need to know what can kill you in the team fights and you need to know it before it actually happens. But the most important thing when you're looking for target prioritization, who do I focus, especially on the laning phase, is the CC rule. We go on the CC guy, we go on the guy that is CC'd, we go on the guy that is hooked. The HP rule, we always prefer to go on the guy that is lower or significantly lower than the other guy, if there is one like that. Or if none of these rules apply, the distance rule. We go on the guy that is closest to us. Team fights are very similar. The rules are pretty much the same. It's just you need to emphasize more the threats. 1, keep yourself alive. Always know what can kill you, what abilities exactly. 2, hit the closest target. Always be sure to hit something, to do something, to try to maximize your damage. And 3 is be safe. When you go for aggressive plays, you want to make sure you only go when they're very reliable. And there are many cases where just backing off or not hitting the enemy is just the safe option. You don't always need to hit something. First, be safe, then be sure to hit someone. Pay attention to the following examples right here. So I'm playing Ashe. This is a Diamond 4 game. So it's a pretty reasonable rank. He's not too high elo Grandmaster Challenger, but it's not bronze. So I make sure if I do something bad, I'm going to get punished. The preparation before the fight is very simple. You look to see the abilities that are big that can kill you. And in this case, the worst thing that I can get hit of is the Cho'Gath Q or the Lux Q. These are the worst things. There is going to be a Renekton W, which I'm playing Ashe. I shouldn't really get hit by that, but there is a chance. And then Viego W as well. I shouldn't get hit by that, but again, there is a chance, so I'm always considering it. And other than these things, I should be just fine. So pay attention to what I do right now. I don't really know where the teammates are. I don't know where the enemy team is. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm just staying behind. I'm just waiting. And then now I'm ulting, but pay attention to how I play now. I'm going to let it play out first. So this doesn't really look anything special, but it's actually a very good showcase of fundamentals. Pay attention to this one. So I don't know where is Lux, and after I'm ulting right here, I know anyone could be into the brushes. So I'm ulting, and here, even when I see Caitlyn here and we can just focus on her, pay attention to me. Look at my click. I double and I back off immediately. Because I know the Cho'Gath and the Lux could just be there. Pay attention to my positioning right now. I'm just staying on the left. I hit the closest target because this guy was just safe. Of course, after a few seconds, we see the Cho'Gath and Lux. They were actually over the wall, so I will get completely obliterated if I actually hit that target. And now I'm kiting away from them onto the left, so I make sure I'm staying alive, and I make sure I only hit when I am safe. Always think about the Lux Q, always think about the Cho'Gath, and that's how we did it. We just won the team fight. The second example right here is this one. I'm gonna go on Kog'Maw. In this game, they have Rumble, which is dead, they have Wukong, and they have Diana as well. So Wukong ulti and Diana are the biggest threats. Melee Q is not something that I should really think about, so we just skip with Diana and Wukong. I see the Kog'Maw is getting the passive of the guy. I just kill him, and then right now you can pay attention to my champion. So I knew that I saw it on the minimap there is Wukong and Diana on that angle, and pay attention to what I do here. After I kill this guy, I'm not actually getting towards my teammates because I know I'm gonna get complete obliteration. But the moment I see the abilities that scare me are down, then I'm approaching the fight. So pay attention to this example. Again, I'm not really choosing to fight unless I know these abilities are on cooldown and are used on someone. Look at this. So I kill Kog'Maw, I see on the minimap Diana, I see they use the ultimates both on these 3 people, and I'm like, hey, I'm good to go. I can double in, I can commit, I don't really care. I can even just W on top of the Rumble right here. So I know there is absolute no threat. So this is why I actually play really, really aggressive. I will even go melee because I know my limits. I have barrier, I'm pretty decent, so I'm pretty strong. So that's how I do it. And the next example is still from that game, actually from a different game. So in this one, they have Briar, they have Nami ultimate, they have multiple targets, and they have Ahri. So pay attention to what I do here. The same concepts. I hear Briar ulti here. So I hear Briar ulti, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go on left here. I use the W, hit the closest target, hit the closest target. I'm also moving on to the left in case someone is gonna go over this wall and they try to kill me. I want to stay here, which is the maximum furthest distance from them. And then now I hit the closest target, I dodge the Nami wave, and now I am pretty much alone. I don't hit because I am not safe, and here I know I need to not get hit by the charm, and I play the fight almost perfectly. I messed up a little bit mechanically, but after I played this fight, they use absolutely everything on me, and I stayed alive for a long time. Now there is absolutely no way the Katarina doesn't get a quadra kill. Sometimes you don't need to be the hero, you just need to do your job, which I did in this case. What did I do exactly? Well, I acknowledged the threats. I heard the Briar ulti. I knew right here I'm actually very, very safe to hit. So I'm just hitting the closest target and moving on to the left. I see the Senna ultimate. I see the Ahri right there. I'm just hiding behind of the Shen. I see she has charm. I'm trying to ulti her. She still has charm, so I W and run away. And now when I get flashed on, I can't really do much right here. So I just have to spam a flash so I can dodge the charm, which is one of the most important things in this fight. And I did a lot of damage. I bought a lot of time. Even if I died, this is a good showcase of fundamentals in teamfights. Extra tip here on the teamfights for the flash usage. If you are in the early game or in the mid game, it is not actually bad to use flash aggressively. You can always use flash to get a kill, especially if it's a shutdown. Getting more kills is gonna make sure you can get the power spike. So it's actually very good to, flash aggressively in the mid to late game. But if you already have hit your power spike, like let's say we're talking about a Kog'Maw with 4 items, then obviously from that case I would always flash defensively. Just keep it defensive, because if you play against a composition where they have like Wukong, where they have like Ornn, where they have, you're pretty much gonna be well, they will just haunt you, right? They'll just haunt you down. So what you want to do, if you get 2 to 3 items, if you already get your power spike on a champion like Kog'Maw or Twitch, it's much more important to use the flash defensively, unless you can get a triple or a quadra kill. By using the flash offensively, I would always keep my flash defensive in the later stages. If I have 1 item or even 2, and I want to get on my power spike, and I know it's a shutdown, I consider using flash aggressively. But on hyper carries, typically I like to use the flash defensively after I hit my 2 items power spike. On champions like Ezreal, it's a bit, you already have your E, so you don't really need flash. So if you flash for kills, it's not even that bad. But obviously this is also going to depend on the enemy composition, because yes, you could play Ezreal, but at the same time, if you play against Akali onto the mid lane, then on top lane they do have someone like Bessa that can just dive on you, and then they have jungle Zed, and then they have support that can just jump on you as well. Like they have like super good engage like Camille, and on the dedicated they have Kai'Sa. They have a good dive comp. In that case, I wouldn't really use flash aggressively on Ezreal, even though I have 2 flashes. So it all depends on what kind of champion I'm playing, and on hyper carries I prefer keeping my flash, having it, conserving it in the later stages we're talking. But on Ezreal, I'm more inclined to use flash aggressively in the later stages, even after I hit my power spike. especially if the enemy composition doesn't have so many champions to actually kill me and dive on me. Now we will showcase. Now I will show you exactly what I do from a few different scenarios. I will show you how I play ahead. Sorry. I'll show you how I play from ahead. I'll show you how I play from behind. I'll show you how I play in a neutral game. I'll show you what I do when you're strong but your team is weak. But at the same time, I'll show you when to the situation of, hey, I am weak, but the team is strong. So I'm basically going to show you almost every single situation in League and how to play as an AD carry. The first one is the quirky game. I'm very ahead, and what do I do? The most important thing is playing for objectives and just making sure you snowball. Getting plates, as we talked in the last chapters, and taking the tower is very important, and then you need to group mid. In this specific situation, I know the enemy jungle was top lane, and this play is extremely free, so I take it. Typically, I avoid doing this plays because I have a big power spike in base Trinity, and I don't like to make plays like this. In this case, it was very reliable, so I do it. After this, I just group mid lane. What do I do on mid lane? I play for my engagers. I avoid playing for top lane, so I play with my Zed because he's my jungle, Vex because he can be engaged, or Braum. But usually jungle dictates the game, as we learn into the mid-game chapter. So now what I do is I play for the Drake, I stay for the Drake, I get push mid, and after I play mid lane, I can actually just go towards bot lane and play around Zed. But since in this case we already see that Braum went towards top lane, Vex and Renekton, they play for top tower, I go to cover there because there is nothing really on bot lane, no one really shows on bot lane. And even if Kog'Maw shows, it's just the 0-3 Kog'Maw that I don't really care. So I'm opening in top lane, I try to get vision, and here I try to fight. The reason why I fight is because I'm ahead. So the secret when you're ahead, I mean, just snowball, you know. Take good fights, play with your teammates, especially for your jungle. Try to be in the team fight if possible, but at the same time, as you guys saw, I am also taking the wave first, okay? So I'm taking the push, and then after taking the push, I am trying to make a play. It's pretty simple to play from ahead because you just have to fight. Of course, you know, we learned in the last chapters what kind of fights should you take, when are the fights are not really, you know, the things that you shouldn't take. So now, yeah, I just take a lot of fights. Now I just recall because I have my item. I make sure I don't overextend. And again, I do the same thing. What is the same thing? I play around Zed. I push mid lane right here. And then Vex is mid. So I want to kill that guy. I know Vex has ulti. And it is very, very easy for us to just kill the Kog'Maw right here. I get a tower. And what do I do after I get a tower? I want to get objectives. So if I don't know if I can get any objectives, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to recall and I will answer to the bot wave. Very, very simple. After I answer to the bot wave, I can't get to mid lane here because it's too far. So I just keep pushing. And after I keep pushing right here, I try to bait right now someone. No one really comes. Then Rumble comes and I'm like, hey, I shouldn't really be on side lane. I have so much gold. So what if I'm going to push this wave and I'm going to group with my Braum, try to get vision. It's very important to get vision with the support because of course he wants to get vision, he wants to get pressure. We're gonna try to get a kill here. This is a mistake for me. Still worth because it's 2-for-1, but it's still a mistake. But this is basically the game, right? You play around your jungle, you make plays, you try to get as many waves as possible, but you have the upper hand. You are basically making the decision of let's fight, let's do this, let's play with the jungle, let's start the play. You're not really playing reactive, you're more proactive. Reactive is when you're playing from behind, and we will see very soon how you do that. So yeah, that is pretty much this game. It is over right now. Now we will talk about the next example, which is you are strong, but the team is behind. What do you do then? So pay attention to this example. So we got the bot tower right now. We are pretty strong. Well, I am pretty strong. But when I'm going to press tab, you guys are going to see something very, very, very interesting. So right here. Okay, my top lane is 1-3 and enemy top lane is 1 level up. Not so strong, but definitely stronger. Mid lane, we have a 0-2 Ahri and we have a better Katarina player. Actually, no, that's not good. 1 second. Pay attention to this case. I am strong, I'm 4-2 and Senna is 1-3. I am 1 level up, I got the tower and they didn't even get one plate. On mid lane, we have a stronger mid lane, so that is always good. The problem is that our jungle is 4-2, but their jungle is even stronger. 8-3 with a 1 level lead. And then the problem is on top lane. The guy doesn't have a lot of kills, but he's just 2 levels up on the Shen. We don't have tower top lane. It is gonna be very tough. God bless I have this Katarina, but the rest top and jungle I can't really play much with them. They do have also Briar and Ahri as a semi-assassin, we can say. So let's see how I play here. The most important thing when you're playing in these cases is to have a good fight selection. And as we talked in the chapter with fighting, it is number advantage that you need to, you know, assess before you go into the fight. Reliability, how likely it is for you to die there. And now I'm just going top lane. The Drake is the objective, but it is in a minute. I actually went top lane because I had to catch this wave. As we can see right now on the minimap, I just pushed. I have a good opening here to push another one. And I know the Drake is up in 40 seconds. Then I'm immediately moving towards the Drake. So I need to play for objectives. But remember, Briar is pretty strong. Their top lane is pretty strong. So if I will compete with them, they will be like 1-2 levels up on me. So I need to avoid that. I need to be sure I'm not taking a fight unless Katarina is with me. Because I am the win condition, but Katarina is also strong. So I always ensure that I get prior mid lane, as we can see here. And after I get prior mid lane, we play for objectives. I just get the Drake. I play with the Kayn. It is pretty simple. Since I'm playing Ashe in this game, I can also look to ulti. And we can get nice kills. But I just want to make sure I ulti when my Kayn is around me. I see an opening here to go on top lane. I see the next wave is also pretty far. Which means the enemy wave is pretty far, which means from here to the mid lane it will take like 15 to 20 seconds, and that's the time that I have to rotate top lane. So what I do, I ulti top lane, I hit the Xante right here, and we end up going for a fight, which actually it is pretty close if you really ask me, but I did hit the closest target. I used the teamfight fundamentals, and very nice, we won it. I did play around my teammates. Yes, they had stronger top side, but I just hit the ultimate. I had good map awareness. We were first there, and now I can transition in my lead by taking one tower right there. And then I take the wave. I recall because I have a lot of money. And now I'm gonna do the same thing. I have my ultimate. I am ahead. Katarina is ahead, but still our top lane in jungle, they are worse. They are behind. Briar has almost 10 kills, so it's gonna be a bit iffy. If I get hit by Briar ulti, it's pretty much GG. But here I know I have Shen ulti, and even if he doesn't use it, I have barrier and I have flash. I force him to actually go on me. And if he does this kind of plays, if he was strong and he does this kind of plays, he does this kind of mistakes, he will lose his lead. He just needs to make one mistake. The carry from the enemy team, they just need to make one mistake like that, and it's over. If you all, for you, it's actually easier. For you, it's easier to die, because if the enemy jungle makes one mistake, it's not as big as if you make one mistake. So if enemy jungle is strong and you play AD carry and you're strong and he makes one mistake and then you make one mistake, typically the AD carry mistake is bigger than the jungle mistake. Why? Is because first of all, it's easy to make a mistake on AD carry because you just get like, you're not paying attention to the team fights and you get caught immediately. With jungle, you're more tanky, you have more levels, you're not so squishy, you have even a bit of more mobility than playing any mobile AD carry. So you have those advantages. So the most important thing when you have a lead is don't lose it. Just take good fights, play around your teammates. Like even here, look at me. I'm playing Ashe. Pay attention to how I'm hovering here. I'm hovering around my teammates. I'm not staying mid pocket. I know Xante is moving. I know Briar is hunting me. Ahri is hunting me. They want to kill me. So I'm ahead. I need to play for my teammates. I need to play for my ulti because that's what Ashe does. And most importantly, I need to understand that, hey, they have Briar. So if I get hit by the ulti, I'm dead. It's just very straightforward. And that's what I do. I just play mid. I try to snipe them. And we actually get the Nami right here. And I just play very slow. I can't say I'm playing around the Kayn. I'm just playing the map. You know, I get pushed when I should get pushed. I am playing around my my damage. I do have my flash. I don't really panic with my resources. So we can see my positioning is quite decent. And I'm gonna end up winning this game. People ask me, okay, what do you do different? It's like, I feel like I'm not really doing much different, just playing the game. Like, first of all, the most important thing is knowing what fights to not take, because not every fight is winnable. And we learn in the fight selection part, like what fights you should really take. And second of all, it's important to have good positioning and to execute the team fights well, because usually if you get hit by one big ability when you're ahead, you're dead, and then you just lose the game. So it is very important for you to do something on the map. So if you have a lead, use it. You know, just play for your jungle, play for your mid lane, typically for your jungle, but play for someone that makes the play. Like now, we're playing on top lane and we're just making this play. I just wanted to be top because we pushed mid, as we can see here. Like I went mid, we had prior mid, and look at my champion right now. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna open top because Katarina is recalling. Kane is also recalling, so we gotta be careful here. So I'm pretty safe, as we can see, I'm staying pretty safe. And then I open into top lane, so I'm always getting push mid, and I'm trying to do something. If you can get push mid, it's a bit harder, but even in that case, you should try to play on the side lane, or you should try to play around your jungle. But this is basically what you should do if your team is pretty behind and you are the one that you're ahead. You should still play around your teammates, but you should be really careful because in majority of the cases, if you know your Kane, let's say in this case, is 2 levels down, and if you fight around him, you're probably gonna lose because the enemy jungle is just so strong. So you need to play around your power spikes, most importantly, and you need to play around your champ capability. Like Ashe, I hit my ultimate and we can fight. I want to wait 2 items because if I don't have 2 items, I am not gonna be a very good champ, and that's how I win this game. And we get better on Asher, and it's basically over. Now we will look at a situation where I've got a weak support and we are behind. How to play from behind and how to play with the weak support. So let's do an 8x with what happened in this game. So I have a Rakan. This first Rakan is not necessarily the best lane in the world, and the only problem is that we try to win the laning phase, but again, Rakan into Fiddlesticks is a bit hard to play, and Ezreal is pretty hard to reach if you are playing Rakan. So we're making some trades, everything goes good so far, but at some point we are going to get behind, and I'll show you what I did in that case. Typically when you're behind, it's better, we already get gank here, we try to turn. Like this, I knew we are actually stronger, we have a good wave, and Hecarim tries to gank, I flash out, I'm pinging to go onto the Hecarim, we try to focus him, we try to get him down, and here I'm pretty forward because I have minions. So I'm trying to play really aggressive because I had my wave. So I'm knowing my limits reasonably well, and it went good. So if you're behind, let's talk a bit about the main concepts. So if you're behind, typically you're getting pushed in. You need to play safe. You just need to make sure you don't die. We see that Myrakan just completely he tried to do something aggressive, and again it is Fiddlesticks, so it is pretty hard for us to really play. He goes on the Ezreal, not on the Fiddlesticks, but yeah, we don't really talk about what he's doing wrong. We talk about how to adapt. It's kind of simple but hard at the same time. Play safe, don't die, take as much farm as you can. Like look at my playstyle here. All what I'm doing right now is don't die, just walk up for the XP of this minion. You know, remember the XP is the Aphelios Q with Crescendum or with the W of Jinx. So if I stay here, that's the max range W of Jinx. So I play for XP, I play to not die, and I just hope that my team is gonna really carry. Of course, in this case, I'm just zero. Like my support is just 0-1. It could be good. The problem is that he went in and he completely pinged, and I was like, "Hey, this is a big wave. I can't refollow." Then Ezreal went in. Here, I didn't actually expect so much damage from him. He does get a lot of stacks of Conqueror here, so he just kills me. I didn't barrier. And yeah, some people can be, oh, bro, you know, your Rakan is completely griffer. Easy bronze, easy. Some people will be like, oh, but you didn't use your barrier. I mean, doesn't really matter really what was wrong there. Maybe both of us, like we just make mistakes. Now how do we play from this state? That's the question, right? So I don't want to push. Ezreal is, you know, slowly coming back in the lane, but my Rakan is pushing. I shouldn't really ping SS ping. What I should do is the moment he does this, I should ping him once. I should ping him once to not hit my wave, but since he already W'd, I should just commit to the push because I'm like, hey, he already started to push, then what can I do? I have to follow. That can happen. He's tilted. The worst thing that I can do right now is type to him or try to ping him like a lot, like missing. I will try to play around him a little bit. And yeah, I'll just try to play safe, like pay attention to my positioning. I'll try to hover my jungle. I try to freeze here a little bit, and we are just playing safe. Try to short trade, but we see that the normal Rakan support, I mean, he didn't have the greatest game, and it is a bit of a hard matchup as well. I mean, this elo is around Emerald 1, Diamond 4, so it's not the highest elo, but having a counter pick in the enemy team might matter in some cases, right? So yeah, how do we play from this? I just try to be consistent. Like in this case, we can poke because we have the wave. Hecarim is on both sides. So I just try to not like, the moment I see this, I'm like, hey, my Rakan is 0-2, but I'm in a winning position now. I'm 0-1, we're pretty behind. Ezreal is like 3-0 right now at this point. He got all kills somehow. So I just want to keep them in the lane, because if I keep them in the lane, it will be so good, because that means Ezreal will not be able to, as long as they don't get ganked, right? We're getting top, we're weak side, but we just want to force them to be. So as you can see, I try to stop recalls. He dies, unfortunately. Couldn't really do much about that. I try to ER, but yeah, unfortunately, he just, you know, gets out. He is just safe. So here, I can't really do much. And then now, I'm like, hey, I'm on V2. I need to play safe again. I think Fiddlesticks just recalled because he was just low. I'm going to keep the wave here. So if we want to do something on the Ezreal, we can. Rakan misses W again. And he is a 0-3 support, normal, average support in your Diamond 4 Emerald games. So what do I do now? Since Ezreal is like 4-0. Well, God bless the guy is bot. So this is the first mistake of Ezreal. He shouldn't really group mid. He should keep staying bot to get bot tower, because now if he's gonna go mid, he will interact with level 7 Graves, level 9 Lux, and level 9 level 8 Renekton, and he's just level 7. He's a normal average AD carry. So this is the first mistake that he made here. He grouped mid lane, and I was like, hey, now he goes stop. So this is even worse. He's gonna be against Renekton. So now this is my time to shine. If you are from behind, typically you lose the tower and you have to farm into the first tower, push the wave, go towards mid lane, then catch the wave again. If you lose your tower, it's a bit harder. If you don't lose your tower and your enemy does mistakes like going top, typically going top is kind of bad. They won that because I'm sure that my teammates just misplayed, and it is Fiddlesticks, which is an incredibly annoying champion if he goes from Fog of War. But on average, grouping top lane is just horrible, because you're going to be like 2 levels down on the enemy Darius and Fiora, and it's very rare that you go top and you get kills. So what I do now is I just try to stay consistent. Ezreal went top. I just try to take my farm. I just try to be... I'm behind. I mean, Ezreal is 4-0. My Rakan is 0-4. It's pretty hard to play, but this Wukong is 0-5 as well. I do recall because I have the item in base. Ezreal returns to bot lane, but he already lost a little bit of momentum. All what he had to do is to take my bot tower and then group mid. He didn't do that. We got to bot lane and we try to abuse some mistakes. We can't recontest Drake. It's really important when you're behind to not make stupid plays, because now they're doing Drake and we know this, but judging of the minimap, our jungle recalled and he's just going to play for top lane. So the moment I see this, of course, Rakan pings to follow. Lux also pings. I ping 3 times and I just all in onto the Herald. I see my jungle patting there. So it's very, very important to not go. If I go to the Drake, I get caught and I die. Game is over. Okay? So when you're behind, you want to make sure you keep your game as clean as possible. And by that, I mean, stop making unnecessary plays. Play around the strong people. Wait them to carry you, you know. And now I have a 2-4 Lux. Jungle is losing as well, so it's a bit hard to get carried. So I just have to get my power spike and hope that I can carry. But the worst thing that I can do now is die. I see Hecarim top lane, and I just try to play safe. So how to play from behind? Just get as much as you need without not dying. If you're behind and your teammates can carry you, just don't die. It's that simple. Just don't die. Don't die. Get as much farm as you need. Sometimes you need to give up the tower. You just need to make sure you are useful. If you are playing from behind and your teammates are winning, that's the easiest way to play the game, and we will touch it very soon, because you just have to play safe, not die, and you win. In this game, again, my teammates are not necessarily strong. I have a 0-6. Oh, no, that's them. I have a 2-4 mid lane. My jungle is strong, and my top lane is 3-2, but my Rakan is 0-4, so it's a kind of like an even situation-ish. I ulted the wave, and I'm like, hey, if Ezreal has low mana and he doesn't stay, then I take the tower. So Ezreal did some key mistakes. He grouped top lane, he grouped mid lane. He should have get bot tower first. He should have get as strong as humanly possible before really doing anything else, and he made mistakes. Now he's staying bot, which is also like pretty bad. So the worst thing that Ezreal is doing is that he doesn't group. You're 5-0, you're 4-0 on Ezreal, and you're staying bot lane pushing waves. I mean, I understand that you push that wave, but now after you take this, just go mid and send Syndra bot. This is really bad. Like, when it comes to playing from behind, it is very difficult, but your enemy will make mistakes like this, right? I have 10 farm per minute right now. My support is 0.52, 0.52, complete garbage. But he's gonna be useful later on, I'm sure of it, because he's Rakan, so I don't mind this. I didn't flame him, I didn't type to him, I didn't ping him. It's really important, because the moment you do that, he's gonna be worse. He's gonna type back, he's gonna, you know, ping
ping you as well. So look, I check the brushes with my E for Fiddlesticks. Again, Ezreal is 5-0 and he's not grouping, he's not with his teammates, he's not mid lane, he's not playing through mid, which he should. He's playing through bot, which he can get caught. And yeah, it is relatively easy for us to play the game now. Of course, we almost lose this fight, but I did clutch it out with my mechanics. So the mechanics can also matter. Like this play was try to Q ult to zone them right there. Then Wukong goes, we zone the Ezreal and the Syndra. And now I do have my flash, so I just try to flash the Ezreal EQ right here. He flashed as well, and then now I played it quite decent. Yeah, so he just throws the game. He just throws the game. He makes mistakes. That's how you play from behind. You wait for a mistake. You play safe, you play reactive, you catch the waves, you don't die. Don't die, don't die, don't make stupid plays. So what I did is simply I stayed bot and I farm. And I try to get as strong as possible. I try to get in the fights as well if they were close to me, but mainly I was trying to get the wave bot lane and not really get myself into stupid plays, because we saw that they were trying to contest Drake multiple times, but I didn't want to, so I just pinged them off because jungle was top, so we didn't need to. And I try to stay as consistent as possible. The only thing that can stay consistent is the farm. So as you guys can see, I have 10 farm per minute right here in this case, and that's, I died there by the way against Hecarim. That's the only thing that can stay consistent, because if Ezreal is 5-0 and your support is like 0-6, 0-7, it is very difficult. Like now he's 0-6. It's very difficult for me to get kills. So the only consistent thing that I can really do is taking the farm. And you guys can see, I'm just really taking max range, always respecting the Fiddlesticks, taking the wave. And then here I end up dying, again, getting caught. So I don't play perfectly here in this game. I still get caught. But the best thing that I can really say about this game is that I stay consistent. I stay consistent. Pay attention to this. Ezreal is level 13, I'm level 14. My farm is decent. So when it comes to playing from behind, what people don't understand is that they want to be the hero. They want to be like, oh, how do I play from behind? How can I be like 20-0 after I'm behind? You can't. You just need to be useful. Like, let's say here, I'm 1-3. This is not my absolute best game. It is very difficult to play bot lane in this matchup. A little bit unlucky as well with the support. I also didn't play very good. And I'm behind. But now I need to be useful. Top, mid, can carry. I'm fine. I just have to be useful. It is really that simple. It is really that simple. And then I just do the normal basic things. I go mid lane, I play around my teammates, and we ended up winning this game. We ended up winning this game, and I actually do more damage than the Ezreal, somehow. Just because here, I catch the wave, I go back to my teammates, we're starting the Drake, and then this should be really good. Rakan or again does Rakan things. And then here, I just go for the mid lane, I push, I stay with my teammates. I push, I stay with my teammates. Get prio, stay with your teammates. Get prio, stay with your teammates. We got a few ultimates right there. And now I try to ulti, but unfortunately Grace got a bit of caught there. And I also get caught, so it's pretty difficult. People are spamming FF now. Now it is actually becoming pretty difficult right now. I type that, guys, we don't really have engage. What do we do? Rakan is so useless pick here. GGBG. That's a bit of a tilter. I don't recommend you to do that. It's horrible to do it. Don't type because your support is going to play even worse. My support was already tilted and I didn't type anything until 30 minutes of the game. But now, as we can see, he's just tilted because I wrote the things. I said that, bro, you're not playing. You shouldn't pick this champ and stuff. But this is useless because he already picked this champ. And then after I typed that, he actually made a really nice play. Well played to him. You should never doubt him. I mean, even if he has a bad game, it can happen. You know. It can happen. He just picked like a weak champ, and we somehow came back in this game, even though it looks like we're like losing a lot of fights. We somehow come back, and the way we came back is just normal fundamentals, really, like normal fundamentals. Play for your ultimate, play with your teammates. We have a Rakan, so hopefully he's gonna hit something. Maybe Lux is gonna poke a little bit, but most importantly, hit your ultimate, because that's why you play MF. Hit your ultimate. If I play Ashe, then I play around my ultimate. If I play Caitlyn, then I play around my traps, I play around my teammates, I play around my push. So it's all about really who do you play and what can your champion do. It is really, really all about that. And here, we try to catch him. But again, as I catch him, I know he has a plan. So it's either he has Fiddlesticks or he has someone else. So pay attention to my positioning. If Fiddle wants to go now, I'm just fine. Look at this. It's very difficult for him to really do anything here.
yeah, they just made mistakes. They just made mistakes. We try to kill them, and we have good damage. He ends up dying, and yeah, it's I try to keep stable with the mechanics. I try to keep stable with my gameplay. I try to not die. Again, the most important thing to know is that you don't have to be the hero. You don't have to be 20-0. You don't have to be the carry. You just have to make sure you don't int if you're behind. Most likely your support is behind, so just try to use that. Like, okay, he's behind, but let me just farm like solo XP and stuff like that. Like, it's really important to also like have decent mechanics and try to perform, because look, in this fight, for example, we're like just dead if I don't flash instantly the Hecarim multi, and even here my champ feels like pretty bad low damage right there. But yeah, now I get my item, and it should be really, really winnable. I'm also not scared. I'm pretty confident. Look at this. I'm pretty confident. If I know they are dead, I'm just going to do my job and be confident. Now we actually, like, look at this. I don't know how she stopped me, but I just ulti her because I have a really good angle here. So she Q'd here, she E'd, and somehow the E actually hits me here. Kind of crazy, no? Like, if you Q E here, does the E hit here? I mean, I guess it does. But yeah, she ended up dying anyways. We got Baron, and we killed the guy. We almost, like, they almost ended the game here, but they couldn't do it. We recalled, and we just win the game. There is one more play here on the Syndra. I'm really confident. So I just know my limits. I just played stable. I just had really good form. I kept consistent, and not tilt. Because if you tilt, like, you're just gonna have a lot lower chances to win the game, which is, yeah, you shouldn't do it. I didn't do it completely here. Like, I still typed like one thing in the chat the whole game, but it's still decent. I kept quiet until like 30 minutes, and usually I don't type anything. But sometimes the solo queue experience gets to you. So this was the game, and if we really look at the enemy Ezreal, he's a Diamond 4 player. Now, I don't say Diamond 4 is good, but I just want to say he's a Diamond 4, so he's not Bronze, he's not Plat, he's a reasonable player, we can say. Ezreal games, he looks like he has decent win rates, but again, he needs to get a bit of coaching from me. I think if this guy gets coaching, he will get to master, because he is pretty consistent, he has pretty decent win rates, but he dies a little bit too much. But yeah, don't talk about that. Pay attention to the damage. This guy was, what, 5-0 or something? He was 5-0, he got everything, like, he just was so ahead. But he did 28,000 damage. I did 38,000 damage. I died 5 times, he died 4 times, but he's Ezreal. I'm Miss Verton. Like, Ezreal into Rakan, easy. Ezreal into Renekton, easy. Ezreal into Graves, easy. Ezreal into Lux, pretty easy. MF into Wukong, very hard. MF into Heka, pretty hard. MF into Syndra, very hard, because you can't touch her. You can't touch Ezreal, you can't touch Fiddlesticks, and we don't really have any reliable engage. Rakan is not reliable engage. So it's very difficult for me, but I had better farm, better damage, just because I knew how to play from behind. That's how you do it. Now we will talk a little bit about buying controllers on AD carry, and I mean, if you're buying controllers for AD carry, you're actually paying a lot of money for it. 75 gold is a lot, and then you place it, and then after you place it, it's like, yeah, you're going to, like, they will take it, and they also get 30 gold, which is kind of like not your job to get controllers. I mean, you can get one every like 3 to 4 bases, but typically I would just not get it, and I will just try to, you know, play for my items. If you get, again, one controller every 3 to 4 bases is fine, but I mean, after I did my research, and since I've been playing this game for a while, like, there is not many pro players that really go for controllers in solo queue. You can check almost anyone. Very rarely, okay, this is a top lane game, but very rarely, look, this is Hansama, is 1-2 controllers in 22 minutes. Of course, if this is competitive, it's different. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy bought more, 24 minutes, 4 pinks. So every 6 minutes he bought one, so he buys a little bit more. But for solo queue, I don't recommend you. I don't recommend you to, like, buy this many. I think SUPP is one of the players that he just buys a lot of them, because I mean, he just probably is used with competitive pink cards. But as you saw, like, there are not really many players that do that, and I don't recommend you to buy controllers. I mean, again, just buy once upon a time, and that should be it. I do not recommend you to do that. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how to really do your research in terms of your build. So let's say I want to look at Miss Verton build. What I do is, first I open OPGG, and then I open OTP LOL. And then after I open OTP LOL, I open LOL Analytics. This is the website that G2 is using. So I try to use these 3 websites, and I try to also go on UGG, go for the MF, and just go to things, to the pro players. First I do challenge or do master plus, and I see the builds here. I check the builds, I check everything here, and then I do diamond plus, and then I do pro players here. And the pro players, you can see this, which is like the normal builds that people use. So look, Essence River and Bloodthirster, and then you go click on OTP. So you can also see a little bit of what do the Odin Trick Pony players do. We see that there is a build with Bloodthirster into Collector, which is interesting. I might try it. So yeah, you check all of these stats, and then you do go to OTP. And then you see like what one trick ponies do here, Master, Grandmaster, Challenger, and you see that they do Bloodthirster Infinity, Bloodthirster Essence River, Bloodthirster Essence River. They just check here. You see here the path. So yeah, there is a Bloodthirster Collector here, and then there is also like a Bloodthirster Infinity Edge if you're super strong and you can just one-shot them. But typically the Essence River is pretty good. So this is like top rate popularity build. You can check the runes here as well. And then what I do, the last thing, I just compare them, and I usually just go for the rune page and the playstyle that most of the people take, just because if most of the people take it, it's probably just good. But if you want to be very, you know, you want to be creative, or you simply just really want to experiment, as in, hey, you know, this guy has a new build, let me try it, you can. You know, you can try like other builds like this one, for example, or like I look here first, but I like to look first on Euro West, then I look in Korea, then I look in, and what I do, I click here, and I just open like around 5 players from each region, the best, like AO West. I look here, look, we have a Grandmaster, we have, I guess a Master is a reasonable rank. Master, like look, I open 3 accounts, then I go in Korea, I do the same, then I go in NA, I do the same. And what I do is that I just check what they built. I just check the items. Look, the guy went pork, which is very interesting, but yeah, wow, very interesting. So he went pork here, he went for the Yomu's build. Yeah, okay, so he doesn't actually like the Bloodthirster. Interesting. And then this guy is still a pretty good MF player, 38%. But I mean, anyways, even if he has 38%, he still knows his shit on this champion. He's master, low master. I mean, it's not the highest rank in the world. Like my friends that will look at this rank, they will laugh, but it's still not lowest. And master is an amazing rank for most people. So you can, like, yeah, check what they do, you know, try to see their runes, try to see their stats, try to see what they build, try to see the things, and try to copy it and try to experiment for yourself what is good and what is not. So this is how I do my research when it comes to how do I find the best builds. So we talked about control words, we talked about builds. Now we will talk about the leash. You shouldn't leash, okay? You shouldn't leash, as we talked in the last chapters, for the laning phase at least. You need to push. You need to push. You have Caitlyn, you want to poke, you need to push. You want to get prio, you have Lucian, but you have like a, you know, like an Alistar, you need to push because you want to get level 2. You either want to push because you're support and you want to poke, like in this lane, Caitlyn Lux, or you want to push so you can get level 2. So those are like the 2 situations that are like incredibly important. So you can't leash. It is period. You can't leash. There are ranks where people say, oh, but I need to leash because my guy is gonna get tilted. It's like, yeah, that's why you actually ask him in the very beginning. You ask him this following question: is it okay if we don't leash? We hard lose lane if we do. So if you ask this, your jungle is gonna be like, bro, I hate this AD carry, but even if I hate him, I don't want my Vayne to be like 0-10, right? So if you ask this really early, and you gotta ask like immediately when the game starts, if you ask really early at 0-0-0, he's typically gonna say yes, sure, or just go. And in that case, then sure, you should just go on the bot. And if your support still stays there, it's very bad. So ping him, assistance, but you only ping after you type this at like 0.00, because we say we hard lose the lane. So you're basically speaking also for your support. So if your jungle gave you permission, if you're pinging your support, from my experience, they typically tend to listen more than if you're just pinging him, or if you're not typing to your jungle first. It's really important to type to your jungle first. And then if he says no, I need leash, then okay, you can just leash, no problem. That should be like a very, very, very minority of your games. Like, you shouldn't be bot lane your support leashing, but you should be talking with your jungle. If he says no, I need leash, then you leash him. If he says yes, then be sure your support is with you. Be sure to ping, and majority of the games you should not leash. Guys, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you liked it. I hope you appreciate it, and definitely check out my coaching session if you think this was helpful. If you think this actually cleared your mind, or this actually gave you a really nice insight, a really nice knowledge about AD carry, and you really want to learn more, you really want to get better on AD carry, go to bizarre.com, guys, book your coaching session, because if this was helpful, imagine what you can get in a personalized coaching session with me, one-on-one. Your mistakes, you will climb very fast, and you will improve very, very fast. I guarantee you. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.